And we're live.
Hello, YouTubers and NFL fans everywhere. This is Matt, the NFL Fanatic, welcoming all of you to the NFL YouTube Prognosticators Google Live Hangout. I am Matt, the NFL Fanatic. Please, hello, YouTubers and NFL fans everywhere. Let me mute that. Ready.
Oh my God.
Yeah, everybody, yeah. So please welcome to the NFL YouTube Prognosticators Hangout. I am pleased to be joined by two fellow YouTube prognosticators in Gioknows and Billy B. How are you guys doing?
Very good, Matt. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It's Gio from the gioknows channel. I'll be streaming this on my channel. You can go to gioknows, my YouTube channel, and watch it. If you'd like to comment, you can do so as well. Let us know what you're thinking about. We're going to be joined by other guests later, and also we'll be co-hosted by Billy B.
Billy B, go ahead.
What's up, guys? Billy B here. Going to be talking about the playoffs here, so hopefully you guys enjoy it, and hopefully the guests will be knowledgeable and help us out.
Playoffs? Playoffs?
4 games this week, guys. Kansas City is at Houston. That's the first one, I believe. It's on Saturday.
Yep, on 440, ESPN and ABC.
It opened up with Kansas City as a 3.5-point favorite. Mostly threes now. Kansas City seems to be about a 3-point favorite on most of the casinos and overseas books. I think that's the right number. I think Kansas City's the better team here, and -3 is exactly where I would have put it.
Yeah.
Before I get into the picks and stuff, I just want to say, this is the first time in a while I can remember that all the away teams have been favored. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, to me, when I look at this game of Kansas City and Houston, I see two very similar teams in how they have gone through a tremendous amount of adversity from the beginning. Remember, Kansas City was 1-5 at one point, and Houston was 2-5 at one point. And now they are both in a spot where they're in the playoffs. Kansas City, of course, has won 10 straight games, a franchise record. Very impressive.
A couple of years ago, they opened up the season 11-0. Mind you, they played a lot of scrub quarterbacks that year. And Billy and I have been debating about Kansas City all year, and Poet's going to join us a little bit later, and he's been on my side with Kansas City, that they're a much better team than that 1-5 record to start the season indicates. Maybe they're not as good as a 10 straight win team, but I from the beginning of the year, I had them as a playoff team.
Yeah, you did. I just like to bust on you, and with being a Broncos fan, I like to rag on the Chiefs a little bit. But they do have talent. But when Jamal Charles went down, I thought they were dead in the water. But Andy Reid's such a good coach. They played a lot of their players play for him, and he probably saved his job by turning it around. And they are a good team, but they don't really beat up too much on the playoff teams. But you got to beat who you play.
Right, and if you look at what Kansas City did, if you look at how they play a complete, perfect team kind of football. The defense plays well enough to complement the running game and to complement Alex Smith, who, by the way, to me, who signed that 5-year extension back last year, he's probably the only quarterback out of all the quarterbacks that signed extensions that probably played up to the extension, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think if they worry about Alex Smith scrambling more than you do throwing, to be honest with you. But
yeah, even though he threw 2 picks for the first time, I think since 7 weeks. He only had 2 picks in about 7 weeks. He threw 2 picks against the Raiders last week.
Well, that's what he does. He limits the turnovers, and then Kansas City is one of the best teams in the league in taking the ball away. So that's a pretty good combination. Getting back to that streak, it started. I believe the last game that they lost was against
guys, I need to
Chicago, right?
I'll keep talking, but I need to. My eyes kind of bother a little bit, so I need to just 1 second.
If you remember that game Kansas City played against Chicago, that was the game that Jamal got injured, and Chicago scored 2 touchdowns in the last couple of minutes to win the game. It cost me a lot of money, by the way. And right after that, that's when Kansas City went on their tear.
Absolutely. And when I look at Houston, I think what Bill O'Brien's done, he won with 4 quarterbacks. This is the first playoff team in NFL history to have a playoff seed with 4 different quarterbacks.
That's a Matt stat, by the way.
Yep. Can you guys name the 4 quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Mallett, Hoyer,
Gabbert?
No.
No, not Gabbert. I mean, Whedon.
Whedon, and then there was one more.
I have it. I can't think. I have the guy's name in my head right now.
T.J. Yates.
T.J. Yates, right.
He was the other one. He actually was the only Texan that went undefeated.
If you remember, when that game that Whedon came in off the bench, they were losing that game, and he rallied them. I think it was a divisional game, and he sort of saved their season. And then Hoyer came back in, and he won the last game. But had it not been for Whedon's play down the stretch in weeks, 15, 16, they would be out of the playoffs, guys.
Yeah, and you know what? Houston's defense, though, should be commended. 5 of their 7 wins down that run, they scored. The opposing offense only had 6 points.
Yeah, that's amazing. It was always a good defense. I could never understand, though, when they let Mario Williams go. Remember, they had a 4-3 defense, and then Phillips came in, and he went to the 3-4. And I never could understand that move, but the defense is solid with Watson there and a lot of the other guys. That's an amazing defense. Should be a defensive battle. What's the over/under on that game?
Yeah, I think this is a game where the first team to 20 wins.
Yeah, it's the
21,
over 40.
40.
Yeah, there you go.
That makes sense. I'd go under.
I see 2017.
That's exactly what I see.
14.
Right.
I have 21-17.
I actually think Houston's going to win this game. I don't know why. I mean, you could say my bias, but
You don't want to play the Chiefs, do you? You don't want to play the Chiefs.
we're going to play playing Pittsburgh anyway because I think they're going to beat Cincinnati, so it doesn't really matter.
Man, that's really going to be interesting to see how that's going to go, and that's a great segue to go into the Bengals-Steelers game. It's the third matchup of this series, this year. And actually, it's very ironic for Pittsburgh. They're going to go possibly on a type of run that they did in 2005. Remember, they played the Steelers, or the Bengals played the Steelers in 2005 when they were the 6th seed.
They backed in that year. They backed in again this year. Have you ever seen such a charmed franchise in any sport as the Pittsburgh Steelers? Luck just follows this team.
I can think of a charmed coach. That's Marvin Lewis. He said.
Yeah, I mean that Primanti brothers' famous restaurant in Pittsburgh sent up a bunch of sandwiches to Buffalo. So,
yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know how the Jets lost that game. That's unbelievable.
They're the Jets.
Well, again, it's Patrick. He did that to me all year too. There'd be games that all he had to do was score in the last 3 minutes or so, and it would be first down at the 15-yard line, and he'd go for the whole thing in one play and get picked off in the end zone. I think there was 3 or 4 games he did that. I was always on the wrong end every time.
Here's a good question I could ask you guys. What do you believe with A.J. McCarron getting the start? If he loses, should Marvin Lewis get a pass? Should he get a pass? With the Red Rifle not playing.
Depends on how badly they lose, if they do lose, at all. But if he loses, I think he should get fired. And the guy that I think should be the next Cincinnati coach is Patterson. You know, the TCU coach?
Gary Patterson.
Gary Patterson, great coach. He was Ginger's coach at TCU. I don't know if he wants to leave college and go to take an NFL job, but man, there's a guy who you saw what TCU did in that game where they came back from a 31-0 deficit with the scrub quarterback in the bowl game.
Yeah, they didn't have Tremont Boykin because he got suspended.
Right, and here's a guy that just year in year out has TCU very competitive, and of course he's got the history with the Red Rifle. I think he'd be the guy that I would go after to replace Marvin if they do indeed fire him.
I have Hugh Jackson.
I was reading, or I was listening to the radio. It's like, so A.J. McCarron wins the game against Pittsburgh, and then Andy Dalton comes back and then loses in the second round. What do you do?
Oh man.
Andy Dalton never wins big games, so they're going to be quarterback controversy. That'd be hysterical.
And I think there would be, because I think that's the one thing that A.J. McCarron has as a quarterback, being a quarterback from Alabama. Remember, he won 2 national titles at Alabama. He's played in big-time games.
Did he win them, or did those defenses win them?
Well, he contributed. the defense
I mean,
is.
they had Julio Jones and Amari Cooper too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and they've done pretty well for themselves in the NFL on their own.
Absolutely.
No, that's a good point. If they do win and Ginger does come back and they lose, well, then I guess we know what the problem is.
Yeah.
And it would be. I mean, it wouldn't be a shock if they lost because they'd be playing the Patriots. So it's not like they're not going to be favorites.
I think both of us, we have the. I guess all of us have the Steelers winning. I assume.
I do. I have the Steelers winning, unfortunately, for all our Bengals fans out there.
Yeah. Well, again, I guess we'll see you next January. Your relevance will come back up next January. So there's that game, and then Gio, he's got a big game on Sunday. The NFC plays Sunday.
Yeah.
And the 6-seeded Seattle Seahawks go to Gio's NFC North winning Vikings.
Well, I'm not surprised that they won the NFC North because I knew they were going to be better. I am kind of surprised, but I knew they would be competitive. Last year they were 7-9.
Yes.
Without Adrian Peterson all year, and pretty well the entire offensive line was gone. This year their defense is so much better. AP is back, and Teddy Bridgewater has a year under his belt. Not a surprise that we made the playoffs. Maybe a bit of a surprise that we did win the NFC North, but I think that was Green Bay taking a step backward more than anything else.
No, I agree with that.
I was reading that the Packers actually lost that game on purpose, so they didn't have to play Seattle.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Yeah, I question that.
I didn't watch the game, so I don't know.
I think Arizona may have sort of sandbagged, but I don't know if Green Bay did because they love playing at Lambeau. They are tough at Lambeau, and they have a lot of pride in that organization. They don't like to lose any time at their own building, especially to a division rival.
I have the line at
for the first time since '91, so that's really big.
Yeah, I have the line at -5 for Seattle. I actually think the Vikings cover, but it's going to be a close game. But Seattle, I think, is going to win by like 2 or 3. The cold is going to be a pretty big equalizer.
Well, they really handed our heads to us the last time they played, back in Week 13. But you know what? In our own defense, we had both of our safeties were gone, and Russell just picked our secondary apart. Adrian Peterson had 8 touches. I mean, you can't do that if you're the Minnesota Vikings. You have to give Peterson the ball. And I realize Seattle's good stopping the run, but it's your strength, and they didn't do that. I wondered what Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator, was thinking all game. It was awful to watch. I think we'll bounce back with a better performance, whether or not we win. Well, I haven't decided yet. I haven't made my video yet for the week.
Yeah, I was waiting for this video for us Hangout to be done to do my video.
Okay.
One thing that I'm really interested to see is the return of beast mode, Marshawn Lynch.
You know what? He might put a couple on the ground. He's a little rusty, and often when you come back like that, your timing's off, your rhythm's off, and you can fumble maybe once or twice. I hope he does.
Yeah, I think they're cold. Like I said, Seattle's not used to playing in this type of weather, so I mean, I think that's going to keep the Vikings in the game. Seattle might make some mistakes because they're breathing in that cold air, and
they've become more of a vertical team ever since Graham got hurt. Ironically enough, I never liked that trade. I always thought that Graham was a soft guy. He's not a Seattle type player. He doesn't block.
Graham's finesse. He's all about finesse.
Yeah, too much finesse. Seattle players like to punch you in the face. That's what Seattle does, and he's not that type of guy. And it's no coincidence, in my opinion, that Seattle started doing much better once he was gone. But because of the cold weather, I think they have that vertical game. I think that's going to affect Seattle more than Minnesota by far.
Right, because this is the first outdoor game the Vikings have had since I think 1970. Like it's been almost 40 or 50 years since the Vikings have played an outdoor playoff game.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see how that these two teams go.
When did the Metro dump open? Didn't that open in the 70s or?
I thought that was like early 80s, but I'm not exactly too sure.
Okay, because I remember those years that we were losing the 4 Super Bowls back in the 70s. I seem to remember a couple of games outdoors in the in the playoffs. Playoffs.
Playoff, yeah. Yeah, I guess let's put an over-under on that. How many times we go playoffs or talking about it through this whole thing. So, yeah, I think but when I look at this game, I think just Seattle, they just have too much talent that I don't think Minnesota really can match. I do think that the Vikings will put up a better fight because they do have Adrian Peterson, and they'll be motivated to show that they weren't chumps or that they look like chumps again against these Seahawks. But I believe these Seahawks will get another big win and go on to their third straight divisional round.
I know when we got our first guest, Poet, I think he's our first guest tonight, I'm pretty sure in his video he took Minnesota to win.
Well, he likes to pick those big upsets.
In my opinion, that sucked. What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Unfortunately, Jim Morrow, we are talking about the playoffs.
Do you know that he said that he hears that every day, and he laughs every time. He gets a kick out of it.
Yeah, that's probably. I'm pretty sure it's like Denny Green saying, they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
I don't think Denny gets a charge out of that, though. I think he's a more serious guy. Jim was such a lovable loser, man. That guy had some great meltdowns.
Yeah, great one-liners.
If I were an owner of an NFL team, I would hire him as a special assistant just to sit beside me in the booth watching the game. It must be a riot to watch the game with that guy.
I wonder how his son feels when he's at UCLA all the time. Watching his son. But speaking of the other big playoff game, it's the probably the most intriguing one. You got the Green Bay Packers going to the Washington Redskins. First time since this 1972 divisional round, these two teams are playing in a playoff game hosted by Washington.
You like that?
Yeah. Well, I follow
it's a bad stat, so I do like that.
Where the money goes. You know how I like to put on the Facebook page the red alert, or what do we call it there? The
702 alert.
The 702 alert. All the other games, for example, Kansas City has 60% of the money. Pittsburgh 61, Seattle 62. Well, this one is pretty well split 50-50. So
yeah, I see right now I got it at 52% to Washington +1.
Okay, on my site I have 50.7, but give or take. So this, I guess, the public is really not decided on who's going to win this game.
Well, it's the classic matchup of you have one really cold team. This Green Bay Packer team started out 6-0, and they ended up dropping 6 of their final 10 games, and really losing back-to-back games.
They limped into the playoffs. Their only good win down the stretch really was against my Vikings.
Right.
When Minnesota lost 2 bad games, one against the Seahawks and one against Green Bay. But apart from that, they had that lucky Hail Mary win against Detroit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
they beat Dallas with Matt Castle.
Right. They got slaughtered by Arizona. This is not a good team right now, and I think it's more of bet against Green Bay than bet on Washington.
And
I mean, if you look at Washington, their record versus teams with winning record, I don't think they have a win.
Yeah,
so
they don't.
A real tough game to figure out.
But they've played well, and especially at home. And the defense plays a lot better at home. And Cousins is not an elite quarterback, but he turned into a pretty good signal caller. You got to admit.
Yeah, they're saying he might get $20 million plus.
Yeah, and Jay Gruden did a great job. They had the RG3 thing at the beginning of the year. He squashed that. You didn't hear boo out of the RG3 camp. And slowly but surely he brought that team around, and Washington played as well as anybody down the stretch.
Right. Kirk Cousins is leading the league in completion percentage. The last quarterback from the Redskins to do that was Sonny Jurgensen back in 1969, I believe.
I think I remember that guy.
Yeah, he was pretty good. So Cousins has elite company with him. But my big thing is this. To me, if Aaron Rodgers loses this game, and I've had this feeling for a couple years now, Aaron Rodgers is going to be the modern-day Peyton Manning.
Yes, he is. He should have won last year. He got that a leg injury, and in that Seattle game, I think he would have been able to run a couple of those really close possessions near the goal line for a touchdown. And but yeah, the time is not running out yet, but tick-tock.
Well, it's a very Peyton Manning type run, and biggest Billy, you could appreciate. You're a Broncos fan. Peyton Manning in the last 7 seasons has 5 one-and-dones.
Wow.
Aaron Rodgers, if he loses this Sunday, that'll be 4 one-and-dones in 7 years for Aaron Rodgers. And for any of the Dallas Cowboy fans that are watching, they could say it should be 5 because that was a catch. But I'm not going to start that.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a catch.
I mean, certainly you can't really blame them all on the Rodgers or Manning and stuff like that. But I mean, obviously they all get the attention. But I mean, Manning's going to come back and win his second Super Bowl this year. So
He's got the defense.
Yep, he's got the defense.
That's the best defense he's ever had. You know, when he was with the Colts, he only had the 1 year where he had Bob Sanders as his safety. Was all world that year.
absolutely.
And Freaking Madness coming off the edge.
That was one of the best seasons I've ever seen one defender have. And I guess he paid for it because he didn't have a very long career. But this is the problem the Colts have had in 20 years. They haven't been able to stop the run. And now Peyton's got maybe the best defense in the league.
Yeah, to me, I'm just looking at it like this. Him sitting out them 7 weeks might have been the best thing for him because he just has to watch the games and say, okay, I turned the ball over so many times in the beginning. If I don't turn the ball over at all, I don't have to throw for 200 yards. We're still going to win the game.
Right.
So by watching the games, that's all you have to see. I mean, and you saw when he came in versus San Diego, he only was 5 for 9, but he changed the game. He got the running game. He picked up ball where the blitzes were coming from. He got San Diego to jump off sides 2 or 3 times. So I mean, he doesn't have to beat you with his arm anymore. I mean, it all depends on who he plays and all that stuff. But with him sitting on the sideline, he can just watch and say, okay, well, I don't have to be Superman.
Yeah, he got 20 points on all those drives that he came in, right? Brock only had 7. Yeah. Even though the turnovers by Brock, I really didn't fault him for a lot of those.
No.
You know, so I think that's interesting, and I guess, Billy, here's a good question. You're the Broncos guy here. What should they do next week? Because that's a big question. Kubiak.
Well, it's going to be Manning because you can't go into the playoffs and if Brock starts and they lose, you can't. There's too many. I mean, if they lose either way unless they win the Super Bowl.
There's going to be a portion of the fan base that's going to cry foul the other way.
Well, it's not that. It's with the fans, with the team. You can't. There's too many what ifs if you don't play Manning and you lose. I mean, there's going to be either way. I mean, if you play Manning and they win, or if you play Brock and you lose, it's just too many things. But I mean, it's a lose really because unless they win the Super Bowl, there's going to be questions. But
right, but I think getting a
I think
playoff.
you got to give Manning his chance.
Okay.
I think secretly Manning's telling him, this is it. This is my last chance. And, he's going to do the right. I don't know if he's going to, publicly announce it like Ray Lewis did, but the team's going to know if he's retiring or not. And they just can't not play him. That's just how I look at it.
Okay. Gio, what do you think?
Oh, I agree. I think he was giving up the ball a lot early in the year, and it's because he was hurt. And those 7 weeks off could only have done him a world of good. He doesn't have to throw 500 yards a game. He just use that big fat head with that big fat brain of his and manage it and do the right things and give his offense a chance to score enough points, and the defense will hold the other team. There's no reason why Denver shouldn't be the favorite to come out of the AFC right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think good.
Well, I'm just saying. I mentioned this on a Broncos forum earlier. Basically, is you say Manning, you have 100 throws left in your career. Make them count because you 30 to 40 a game. You think 3 games. You got 100 throws left in your arm. Make it happen.
Right. And see, I think my big thing was, and you'll appreciate this because I remember I talked to this a while ago. With New England losing to Miami the way they did, and I know that they were really banged up, that left the door open for the Broncos to claim the 1 seed, which I think is huge. Because, like this, the only team that Tom Brady has a losing record against all time are the Denver Broncos.
That another Matt stat?
Yep, that's another Matt stat. Yep, they are 2-7.
I think that, I was listening to the Broncos radio earlier today coming home from work, and they were saying that the Patriots all they wanted was the bye. They didn't really care about the number 1 seed. They think that they can beat anybody anywhere.
They can beat anybody, but I guess with the numbers and just kind of that history, playing in Denver is a lot harder for them than playing at home.
Absolutely. I mean, and think of the storylines of that, man. If they play in the championship game, the storylines alone will be, 48 hours of ESPN alone.
Yeah, it's Brady Manning. It's the final one. which I think is going to be great.
Yeah, we'll see what happens though. I mean, I don't give the Chiefs or the Texans much of a shot to go into Foxborough and win.
I would give the Chiefs a little bit. I give them a little bit of a shot. I would.
Billy, you've been doing that all year, buddy. How about the Chiefs?
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody can go into Foxborough and win. I mean, maybe the Steelers. That's probably the only team.
They're so hurt. They're so banged up this year. I mean, Vollmer was the latest one, and he's a big part of that offensive line that was already beat up. And if you lose him for an extended period of time, well, there's only so much Brady could do. He'll be running.
Yeah, it all depends on how the players come back from their injuries. But Edelman's a huge part of their team. I think he's more valuable than Gronk, to be honest with you.
I'd go Gronk over Edelman.
Well, I mean, you know what you're getting from Gronk, but Gronk, to me, I mean, Edelman makes that offense go. And Edelman helps Gronk. When Edelman's on the field, he opens up the field for Gronk.
Gronk is amazing. He's just
well, yeah, Gronk's on his own level, but I mean,
but see, I think Edelman. You can name better wide receivers than Julian Edelman. You can't name better tight ends than Rob Gronkowski. You just can't.
That's a good point. Now, I think we should have Poet come in now.
Yeah, I think Poet, if you're watching, you should join us.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on in.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, New England needs their players to come back and be, semi-healthy. I know, Amendola and both Edelman are banged up, but we'll see how they heal in the bye week.
So here's a good point that I just thought of. Seattle and Pittsburgh. A lot of people are saying that they're the two most dangerous teams. I think that's very interesting since they're both the 6 seeds. So I would like to ask you, here's a good question. Who do you put more stock in? The Pittsburgh Steelers or the Seattle Seahawks?
I think the Steelers would have an easier path to the Super Bowl than the Seahawks would.
Yeah, but
those are two dangerous teams right now.
The Seahawks would have to then go to, because they're the 6th seed, so they would have to go to Carolina.
Yeah.
And then most likely they beat Carolina, and then they would have to go play Arizona most likely. So that's a pretty tough road.
No, it is, and I think that definitely Arizona will play a lot better than they did last week when they got blown up by 30 points.
And then you look at the Steelers; they would have to go to the Denver with a quarterback. You don't know who the quarterback's going to be. That's not as hard as I would say they could win that game.
Do you think that the Denver offense can show up? Because I remember in Pittsburgh, didn't you guys get shut out in the second half?
Yeah.
By that defense, so I think that'll be very interesting to see how that goes. Let's see.
Pittsburgh's capable of losing some easy games. No offense, Matt, but they should not have lost to your Baltimore Ravens.
I know.
Hey,
here's Poet.
Gang.
What's up,
What's up?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine. Good to see you.
Hey, what's up, guys?
We're going to go through the games. Who do you like? Starting off with, what's the first game, guys?
KC and Houston. Who do you have? Who do you got?
KC.
KC, okay. And then what about...
Just to point something out, Poet and I have been big KC fans all year, and we're big Alex Smith fans as well. I know that bothers Billy to no end, but Poet is the one guy who has been with me on Kansas City all year from start to finish.
Yep, and he's definitely been the biggest Alex Smith supporter out of all of us, maybe along with Gio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe more than me.
Yeah.
But
well,
you like them,
to
Poet?
me, if you're more feared for your legs than your arm, then you're not a good quarterback. But that's just...
All right, so Bo, go ahead.
All right, my picks for this week. My picks for this week are the Chiefs. So we all agree on KC for this week.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe.
I like the Green Bay Packers.
You like?
I know Gio said the Redskins are going to win. I know Matt and I agree on Green Bay. I don't know where Billy stands, but I like the Green Bay Packers to win this week.
Oh, I'm by myself on this one.
You like that, Gio? You like that?
Yeah, why not?
Hey, they're giving out that rally tales for the game.
I like that.
I might be. Sorry to cut you all guys off. I might be the only one of the three here, 4 of us, but I am going with the Cincinnati Bengals to end their playoff drought this weekend.
Yes. It's hard. It's too much history.
I'm still undecided on that one.
I'm going Pittsburgh. It's Cincinnati in the playoffs. It's just hard not to go with them. They shouldn't have lost in 2013 to San Diego.
It's not Andy Dalton though, so they might have a chance.
Well, yeah, well, that's a good point. They might have a confidence boost, but talent-wise, I know AJ's played a couple more games, but he threw 2 picks against them. I'm not going to hold that against him, but only 3 games later playing them again, they're going to – good.
If you look at it, A.J. McCarron actually played really well in the first half against Denver on their defense, and then the second half they got conservative and they didn't let him play.
And also, it was a botched snap that ended the game, right? I think it was a botched snap, right, that caused the fumble.
Yeah, but even the whole second half, you could see that they were passive.
Yeah. All right, so King, so you have the Bengals. So you're going to go on that limb and you're going to give the Queen City a king-size gift with a playoff win. Okay? And who do you have in the Seattle?
Well, if you think the Bengals,
Good.
If you think the Bengals are an upset, I also took the Minnesota Vikings.
I love that pick.
Yeah. Was that your upset of the week? I know you always like to have your upset of the week every week.
We can make it that.
Okay.
Well, they are the biggest underdog this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are -5.5.
Yeah, 5.5.
Or plus 5.5.
You just have this feeling that like Seattle, they're gonna be maybe too overconfident. I could see that happening. Or what do you think? What do you think, King? I think they could be overconfident.
Who?
They just Seattle. They just blew out this team a few weeks ago.
Right. I think everyone's just assuming because Seattle beat them so single-handedly a couple weeks ago that everybody's like Minnesota does not have a chance. They're healthier in this game. They're at home again. The cold, frigid temperatures are definitely going to play a factor in this game. I can guarantee you that. This is going to be a very close game than most people probably are expecting this to be.
Yeah, I have the Vikings covering the spread but losing by 2 or 3. Bridgewater, this is his first big moment. I think it's probably his first playoff game, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I think there's going to be a lot of turnovers in this game. I think, probably maybe like 4.
Combined?
Yeah, combined. I think Bridgewater is definitely going to make a mistake that's going to cost the team at the end. Like Gio was saying that, Marshawn Lynch is coming back from injury. He might be fumbling a couple balls.
AP's had a history of fumbling himself, so.
Yeah.
But my thing is,
Gio, you writing that down for a prop play?
No, I thought about that. I like Lynch to fumble the ball. Running backs, especially who come back from Dante's coming in. They have a history of doing that, fumbling the ball.
Yeah, no, they have. And,
Hi, Dante.
Hi, Dante.
Hello.
And just a bunch.
Hi guys, I finally had to install it, and so I'm a retard, but I got it.
Okay, good.
All right. So we'll see you at 8:30.
See you in a bit.
See you at 8:30.
Yep. So when I look at this game, it's very interesting because I think the Vikings, they're playing with house money. Gio's already seen his team get to the playoffs. That was enough, and they can just kind of go without reckless abandon or just relax. There's no pressure on them.
Yeah, I'm with Poet. There could be a very good chance that we shock everybody.
Yeah. So King, what game are you most excited to look forward to this weekend? What game are you most look forward to watching out of all 4 of them?
Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay. KC.
Chiefs. Like you said, I've been supporting along with Gio the Chiefs, Alex Smith the whole year. I'm not gonna jump off that bandwagon right now, so I gotta go with the Chiefs.
Okay, Gio, I just thought of something. Let me give you a nice comparison. I just thought, could you say Teddy Bridgewater is the middle between Alex Smith and Christian Ponder? That he's better than Christian Ponder, but not as good as Alex Smith?
He's better than Christian Ponder by far, yeah.
Yeah. So, but he's not as good as Alex Smith. That's where I got to put Bridgewater. He's that middle gap.
He's very close to Alex Smith.
Bridgewater's got more talent than Alex Smith, but Alex Smith has the, he's got the games under his belt, and he's more, more.
Alex Smith, I think, got the shaft in San Francisco. Had they not traded him away, I think San Francisco would have won that Super Bowl.
Nah, Broncos would have beat him if they were in it.
Well, no,
if you want to keep playing connect the dots here, you're saying that Hail Mary Didn't happen. And
no, the one against your Baltimore Ravens. I think if Alex Smith was the quarterback for San Francisco, that might have been a different. Yeah, I'm just saying.
It might have been, and you're right about that. But I think that might be also going to coaching as well.
Look, you're not going to get anything spectacular from Teddy Bridgewater, at least not yet. The guy's very young. He's 23. And Alex Smith was a #1 overall pick. And I'm telling you, he's had a very good career. If you think about it, there have been a lot of #1 picks who've busted out, and Alex Smith has won a lot of games.
But the kind of maybe support Bill, he just got out of the bust category over this last 4 to 5 year span.
He kept getting different offensive coordinators and coaches every year when he was before Harbaugh came in. That it was a carousel there, and he'd have to learn a different system every year. With Andy Reid, at least he's had some stability.
That's fair enough. Good point.
And that's what Teddy Bridgewater's going to have. He's going to have stability with Norv Turner and Zimmer as the head coach. He won't have to learn a different system every year. And I think that's the thing that kept Alex Smith back more than anything else.
All right. So, hey, King, while you're here, I have to ask you this. What were your thoughts on the Pagano extension, the Pagano and Grigson extensions? You're a big Colts fan. And what were your thoughts?
Oh, it's definitely the right move to keep Pagano. Over the last 3 years, he had a winning percentage in the regular season of 68% or 67.5, whatever. Then this year, Andrew Luck misses 9 games. We have Matt Hasselbeck, who I thought was pretty serviceable. He goes down to an injury. Charlie Whitehurst gets injured.
I've had my debates with Poet about Hasselbeck and Luck. This year I've had my debates about it. But I think you're right. Pagano deserved this extension. He's done more than enough. Grigson's a bit more awkward because of his awkward draft choice. Because Gio said
my best friend's a Colts fan, and we talk about it a lot. I mean, Pagano, easy choice, bring back, but Grigson should have been fired.
Okay, yeah. I'm very surprised he got extended. He was going to be contract was going to run out in 2016. There's no guarantee the Colts have a comeback year next year. I mean, there was not very amount of significant moves that he did this past all season that helped benefit our team. So I could see why people think that Grigson should be gone, but I don't know. Jim Irsay.
What do your Colts need, Poet?
What?
What do your Colts need to be successful next year?
Offensive line.
Offensive line. And
I agree with Billy on that one.
No,
offensive line.
I didn't hear Poet. What did you say, Poet?
Offensive line.
Offensive line and secondary. Better secondary.
Secondary, okay.
Yeah, because you got Vontae, and that's it.
Statistically, we had one of the worst defenses this year.
Mm-hmm. So.
Actually, I think Mike Adams was a pretty good addition.
Mike Adams. He didn't do bad. Yeah, that's a good point.
He got hurt, but, he was serviceable.
Mm-hmm. And then you had...
Mike Adams is fine, but...
Good.
Mike Adams is fine, but at the same time, he's turning 35, and Jim Irsay said that he wants to get younger, so there's probably going to be a lot of roster changes coming up soon.
Okay. Yeah, and that sounds about right. You need, And who do you think should go...
Is Irsay changing the beer dispensers in the? Is that the changes he's doing?
What?
I said, is Irsay changing the beer dispensers? Is that what the big changes that are coming?
Dispenser.
Does Poet not get it?
No, he doesn't get your joke.
Yeah.
Guys, I can't hear you.
He was joking about the DUI that Irsay had. Can you hear us?
Oh, DUI.
Yeah, he said the beer dispenser. Changing the beer dispenser.
I'm telling you, Jim Irsay is the most unpredictable owner in NFL. At least one of the top, near the top of the list.
Yeah, Jerry might be the other one.
Probably.
Yeah.
You gotta love Irsay though. He's good for a laugh.
Yeah, even though Poet they fired Minuski. Who would you like as the new DC?
I don't know. Maybe Jim Schwartz.
Yeah, he's a hot candidate. I think
my friend wants him to hire his brother, the other Pagano.
John Pagano. But I think he's going to stay in San Diego from what I've heard.
What about Rob Ryan?
But, Rob Ryan's not.
I wouldn't want Rob Ryan.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah.
regardless of who we get for a defensive coordinator, we do need to have a good draft this year. We need a really good draft.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because you need to get back in the playoffs and show this team that they're moving in the right direction. Because I think if you have another struggling year next year, there's going to be a lot more friction. And maybe
not draft a wide receiver again.
Not for the next 10 years, please.
Yeah, you got Dorsett. You have enough.
Yeah, Andre Johnson was a bust. Trent Cole was a bust.
Todd
Harriman was a bust. All these free agent signings that looked like it was so going to help this team turned out to hurt the team, and it happens sometimes.
What did Kendall Langford do this year? That's right, you signed him too. What did he do?
Yeah, Langford was good.
Okay, all right, that's not
He
bad.
stayed healthy.
Yeah, I guess that's all you can ask for. Yeah, so
Frank Gore was a nice surprise this year.
yeah, he kind of had a little bit of a rebirth, as well.
Can't be much tread left on the tires, though.
No. And Ahmad went down too of an injury, I believe.
With the better offense, he could have had yards.
Yeah. So, let's see here. So I guess is Keith gonna be coming on here second, or I gave Keith the link. I thought maybe Keith would have been on by
Where
now.
are we at time? I want everybody.
It's about 7:46. I thought Keith might have been in here.
Okay.
Keep going, Poet. Whatever you got.
Yeah, keep going.
How much time do we have?
The fourth game?
Oh yeah, our Redskins Packers. Yeah, so. Yeah,
I already told you the Green Bay Packers win.
And Billy left.
I just noticed that Poet's wearing a gioknows shirt.
You got bored.
Very nice.
Good self-promotion there.
Oh, you could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yep.
Yep. And he's yeah, but when I look at the Packers Redskins game, I guess what are your thoughts about it?
Are you kicking me out, Gio?
No, I didn't do it, buddy.
Yep.
Looks like Keith is in.
Hey, Keith.
My fault for the Packers.
Hey, Keith, how you doing? Keith, can you hear us? Keith. Keith, can you hear us?
Hey.
And there we go. Okay. So, hey, King, if you want to plug your channel real quick for everybody before you go ahead.
Poet?
Go ahead now. Yeah, King, if you
plug your channel, Poet.
Yeah, Poet, you go first, bud.
Yeah, King.
Okay.
Poet, if you want. Go ahead.
All right. So first of all, thanks for having me on tonight.
No problem.
My YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/MrPoeticKid. Look for me on YouTube, King Poetic, 2 words, KingPoetic.
All right, man. Good to hear from you, man. All right.
Thanks,
Enjoy the
Poet.
game.
Talk to you
All
soon.
right, have a good night. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
You too.
Good night.
Thanks.
All right, Keith. What do you got?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hello, everyone.
Keith, who are you liking this week in the wild card week?
Playoffs.
Well, I'm hard on the Washington bandwagon. I'm picking the Redskins. I'm picking the Bengals, and then I'm going with Seattle and Kansas City.
So you think the Bengals can finally get off the schneid? They're finally going to do it.
I do, for a couple of reasons. One, there's a first time for everything. 2, every single year in the wild card playoffs, we see this every single year. Not all always goes as planned in the wild card. I mean, every single year you see it. You guys see it all the time. There's always that one game that doesn't go how you think it will, or 2 games. Last year or a couple years ago, it was the Chargers against the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, not a lot of people thought the Ravens would get past Pittsburgh, even though Pittsburgh's running back was injured. Denver against Pittsburgh. You're seeing a familiar trend.
Tebow, baby, Tebow.
You're seeing a familiar trend. Some of these upsets are against said Steelers, and I think it bites them for a third time. I would take Cincy's defense in a heartbeat over the Steelers' defense. And A.J. McCarron hasn't exactly played like crap. I mean,
No, he hasn't.
Not what Andy Dalton's been able to do this year, but he's still been able to manage that team okay.
Yes, he has.
As for Washington, I think the Redskins win 31-23.
Mm-hmm.
They're on a roll. Green Bay is slowing down. Packers' offensive line can't contain anyone, it seems. And Kirk Cousins and the Redskins have won their last 3 games by double digits.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're one of those teams they remind me of the 2011 Giants. They may not have the high quality Eli Manning quarterback back there. Playoffs hot.
Okay.
Kind of like the Kansas City Chiefs, who I'll talk about next.
Go ahead, Keith.
Oh, Keith froze.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. So
it looks like I'm still the only one on Houston right now. Nice.
yeah.
I like it.
You're
I like
the only one. And it seems like there's more Bengals supporters out there than I thought there would be. Or more Bengals picks.
Those touchdowns.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. 6 of those touchdowns were against the Patriots and the Bills. So if you take away those 2 losses and there's 7 wins in the last 9 games, Houston's allowed 4 touchdowns. Period. And I'm still picking the Chiefs. I think Kansas City takes it 27-21. I think it'll be a close game, but I don't think Houston's going to go down without a fight.
No, they're not. And I always go
Then,
over water.
I'm looking forward to this cold weather game. Seahawks win.
Keith, you there?
Mm-hmm. I'm picking the Seahawks. I think the game's going to be a lot closer than it was the first time around. 24-21 kind of game I'm seeing. Seahawks win. One of the reasons they win is because they do have the playoff experience. But I'm not on the Seattle hype train, or the Steelers hype train for what a lot of people think. I think one of those 2 hot teams in the league. I put the quotes there because the Steelers just lost to the Ravens a couple weeks ago, and the Seahawks just lost to the Rams a couple weeks ago. So, in essence, I mean, it's not like they're completely surging in. They had a questionable loss a couple weeks ago, both of them. I don't think both of them will get out of the wild card round. I think one will lose, and I think it'll be Pittsburgh.
Okay. So
the Seahawks. I actually looked this up. 7 of their 10 wins have.
I think you're against sub 500 teams.
7 of the Seahawks' 10 wins.
Keith, you got a little bit of bad connection.
Yeah, Keith, you're kind of going in and out, buddy.
When they played the Ravens, I'm not. I mean, that game against Arizona was impressive, but as NFL teams in the season, you're allowed to have games like that where you completely blow someone out of the water, and then the team that's supposed to show up doesn't. Every team has that what the hell game, and I think that was the Cardinals, and they got it out of the way. Arizona doesn't.
Yeah, Keith's having a rough time with this connection.
Beat any one of those teams, so it'll be between Arizona and then the winner of Carolina-Seattle to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC.
So Keith, let me ask you a question. If you had to pick right now, who's a more dangerous 6 seed, Seattle or Pittsburgh? Who would that be?
Who what?
Who's the more dangerous 6 seed, Seattle or Pittsburgh? Who would that be?
I would still say Seattle.
Okay. All right.
And to go off of what Keith was saying about the hot teams, there's the Chiefs actually remind me a lot of the Broncos back in 2012. Broncos went in on an 11-game winning streak and they lost in the first round. And Chiefs are going in with a 10-game winning streak. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. Something I've learned is that the streaks don't matter once you're entering the playoffs. Every team's 0-0.
Exactly. I think a lot of people, go in saying, "Oh, well, this team, won 5 in a row, and this team won." I don't think it matters. Once the playoffs come, it's a completely different intensity, and teams, always will be up for the game. There's not going to be like the Arizona-Seattle game where Arizona comes out flat when they knew they didn't have anything to play for. That's not what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. And to me, though, when I look at Seattle and that game against Minnesota, I just kind of think it's kind of a great testament to a lot of old school fans. that these two teams have been predominantly, maybe not this year with Russell, who always played through the air, who, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, he is the first Seahawks quarterback in franchise history to go for 4,000 yards. No quarterback in that franchise. Which is impressive. Yeah.
Well, he's the only quarterback in NFL history that threw for 4,000, ran for 500, and threw for over 30. He's the first quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah, and that's
Bill stat. That is a Bill stat.
Yeah, that's a Bill stat. Oh yeah, and by the way, Gio told me about the one Bill stat you gave him earlier that was wrong. So leave the stats to me. That's the Matt stats more effective.
What stat was that?
And this guy.
Yeah, and Keith. Yeah.
What stat was that?
Go ahead, Gio.
I can't remember what the stat was.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Real quick, too, on the topic of winning streaks, I do remember in 2009, San Diego had an 11-game winning streak, and they were upset by the freaking Jets of all teams.
That's Marty Schottenheimer, man.
Yeah, it's Marty football.
Marty
that
was
that wasn't Shoddy. That was Norv.
Norv.
Finished 13-3. They lost their game 17-14 to the Jets.
Yeah, that was a field goal in overtime. I remember that. That was actually the last time under Norv they made the playoffs.
You know what? Yep. For the rest of his career, do not put any money on Phillip Rivers. Like he is the guy who does more funky stuff than anybody. Wins when they shouldn't, loses when they shouldn't.
Yep.
Phillip Rivers to me is always that quarterback that he gets overpraised just because of his numbers. A lot of people don't really look at his overall success after all these years. They just look at the statistical numbers and say he's an elite quarterback off his numbers. I don't think you should just look purely at numbers to define the success of a quarterback. And his team was in 9 games this year where they lost by 8 or fewer points. Not all of them were on him, but about 4 or 5 of them he had a chance to win the game or tie the game, and he couldn't do it.
Love to watch the guy play football. I mean, he is fun to watch. He's pointing around and he's yelling at the fans and everything, and then he loses.
I actually, this is kind of funny when you think about it. You just reminded me of something. I remember writing this article about a year ago, and it is a testament to how much of a game of inches this truly is. I don't know if you guys remember, during the Seahawks Super Bowl run 2 years ago, there was a Monday Night Football game they played against the St. Louis Rams. And the Seahawks won that game. That was the one with Doug Baldwin. I think Doug Baldwin caught the touchdown. He was waving goodbye to the defender on Monday night. Seahawks ended up winning that game.
Mm-hmm.
And that brought them to 13-3, and that was one of their 13 wins that year. If they lost that game on that 1-yard line with 5 seconds left, I think it was, they had a game-winning touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
They dropped to 12-4. The 49ers are 12-4, but the 49ers leapfrogged them in the final standings because of a better conference record. And then the Carolina Panthers, who went 12-4 that year, are your 1 seed because the Panthers beat the Niners 10-9 that year. So that one seemingly meaningless game completely screws up the NFC seeding, although that game took place around the middle of the NFL season. So you got Carolina, San Francisco. Who was your 3 seed that year? Seattle's the 5 seed. The 4 seed was Green Bay, exactly. And you'd have the Seahawks at Green Bay. And then your NFC winner, the Eagles, the Saints-Eagles game doesn't change, so Saints win. You have Saints traveling to play Carolina, and then you have who would you say would win that Seahawks-Packers game with Aaron Rodgers coming back?
Seattle. I would have said Seattle.
Still Seattle? But still, I mean, it completely screws up the playoffs. I mean, because then you have Seattle traveling to play San Francisco in what was the NFC Championship game that year.
Right. And that I think that would have made a huge difference. So that's a good point.
Okay, Keith, we just have a little bit of time left. We've got Michael waiting. Tell us about your channel and a little bit about you, and then we'll let you go.
All right. Let me, everyone here knows I'm a diehard Tennessee Titans fan. Always will be.
Best of luck with your GM and head coach search, by the way. Best of luck with that.
Okay, thanks a lot, Keith.
Ellie, Yep.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for your time.
Okay, now we have Michael Strupin.
Hey.
Hello, Michael.
Hey, Joe, what's up?
Hey, glad you could join us, buddy.
Glad to be here.
We had one Indianapolis Colts fan. Now we have another. Tell us about what you think about what was happening with your team.
I wasn't cool with that at all. They should have got rid of Pagano, but it was probably the GM anyway. So.
Really? So you're not a big Pagano fan?
Not really, no. I think that we could have did better even from the go. We had new talent, we was building around it, but to go 11-5 straight seasons, I thought we could have did better. And now, it falls back on the talent we had as to what he picked up, and he's kind of rode that, but now it's going down. I mean, we're seeing that in the, in the game.
Yeah. So do you look at because a lot of people when they look at your team, they look at how weak the division is, and see going into this year, you had won 18 straight or 16 straight division games.
Yeah.
So outside of the division, I think Pagano was below 500 or just one game or two above 500.
Yeah, that's why I say I wasn't that big on him. I would have went elsewhere as far as coaching. And you're right, we're in a really shitty division, but that's probably why the Colts have owned it for so long. I mean, there was 1 year the Titans won when we used Curtis Painter, but
and then there were two when the Texans won.
Two?
And then there were two, not counting this one, that the Texans won in 2011 and 2012.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I heard that the Colts asked about Sean Payton, and then when they couldn't get him, they settled on Pagano, thinking that there really wasn't anybody better than him left.
That was really my deepest hope. I would love to see Peyton Manning become a head coach. I think that's where his talents lie after quarterback.
Yeah.
Not Peyton Manning, Sean Payton.
Sean Payton.
In fact, I wouldn't mind seeing him be our offensive coordinator. I think that's really, he was right there with Tom Moore.
He was. But I guess speaking of coordinators, what were your thoughts on firing Minuski? You guys fired Greg Minuski.
Yeah, and rightfully. In last year's draft, I mean, where we should have picked up an offensive line and did this. I mean, he went out free agent and got some good, people there with Gore and the like. But at the same time, we should have really used last year's draft in a different way than we did. And I don't think that. Excuse me, I can't come up with his name.
That was their first round pick.
Our GM beforehand.
You had Costanzo, I think, right? Or you? I think. Okay, it wasn't Costanzo.
He was 11 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, he was really good at the draft. I mean, he could really pick.
Bill Polian.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yes, Bill Polian.
Yeah, Bill Polian. Yeah, I thought you were talking about a player. I was like.
No, yeah, it wasn't Costanzo.
yeah, Bill Polian. Yeah, Yeah. And was it interesting because I watched the press conference, and was it interesting that he kind of threw some shade at Polian, saying, "Oh, these two guys have done better than Polian did in this," because I think he said that. Was that?
No, that's probably more hype than not.
Okay.
I mean, they're talking because they're never going to tell you the real scoop. I mean, when you go in and draft people, you really hope that they do well. That's why it's. But picking a first-round wide receiver that we didn't need, that was bullshit.
It was.
And the guy might be a good wide receiver, but that wasn't where our needs were.
That was a complete luxury pick.
Exactly.
Luxury pick. So hopefully in the upcoming draft, you might go offensive line, defensive line, run stuff, stopping safeties.
Because you guys miss Francois, Ricky Jean Francois. He would have been a great interior force to help.
Is he the guy that the Patriots picked up?
That was Redskins. The Redskins picked him up.
Oh, who's the one that the defensive lineman that the Patriots picked up really at the end of the draft, at the end of round one?
Malcolm Brown.
That's the guy that you guys should have picked.
Yeah.
Michael.
Or also maybe
kept people that we should have picked. I can tell you that.
Or also maybe kept Corey Redding. Corey Redding, former Raven, former Colt. He was serviceable. He's doing a good job in Arizona. So, but Stroop, while you're here, I guess who do you have this weekend? Who do you have? Who do you have?
You know what? I like the Bengals in the Pittsburgh game.
We've got 3 straight Bengal picks. Wow.
Well, I think that at home they should be able to handle Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And Washington.
Okay.
I'm taking Washington there and the Seahawks.
Okay, and then what about KC and Houston?
KC.
Okay. All right.
And I think that they were the ones that kind of beat them right off.
That was week 1. Yep.
And I think that they will do the same here.
Oh, by the way, that was a great game. Brian Hoyer's first pass to Texan was an interception.
That was the score was close, but if you remember, the Kansas City was winning something like 27-6.
Right, and yeah, that's when O'Brien put Mallard back in the game. Put Mallard in the game. He said they couldn't.
That was a lot of garbage time points.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's interesting though. So you're gonna stick, with the Redskins. So is it that circumstance where you believe it's a cold team playing a hot team at the right time for the hot team?
Yeah, exactly. I really do. I mean, and that is the way that I look at it. The Washington's really picked up as the Packers have kind of slid, and it's for that. It's not there, so that's why I'm taking Ornetti. It was really kind of a tough call.
Right. No, absolutely, and I wouldn't be surprised either way. But I guess I wanted your thought. I remember I made a comment about Peyton Manning. As you've been watching this, do you think that's a fair point, or what are your thoughts on that? My point.
One more time, what?
That if Aaron Rodgers loses this game, that'll be the 4th time in 7 years he will have had a one and done in his career. To me, and you're a Colts fan, so you can appreciate this anymore. That Aaron Rodgers, if Manning retires, is the next Peyton Manning kind of quarterback. And what I mean by that is, I don't really care what Aaron Rodgers and the Packers do for any of the regular seasons moving forward.
Here's my thoughts on as to how it pertains to Manning. Every year, despite how good the Colts were, by at least one game, we always had to go to New England to play in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And that was the kick in the ass because it was cold, snowy, outdoors. It was their home field. We lost.
Right.
Now, as far as Aaron Rodgers, different circumstances.
All right, fair enough.
You see where I'm at? I wouldn't put the category if they choke in the playoffs. I would more put it that, it was kind of dependent on who you're playing. We never played a shitty team going into the playoffs. It was always New England, at New England.
That's a good point. Aaron Rodgers doesn't really have a nemesis like Peyton Manning had with Brady.
Yeah, in fact, if that was turned around and they always came to Lucas Oil Stadium to play, I think you would have seen Peyton Manning in a lot more Super Bowls than what he
got. I agree. Yeah, it definitely. All right, that's a good point. Fair enough.
But if Denver wins with Peyton Manning, will you be happy for Denver?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. They're my pick in the AFC.
Okay.
Good pick. Good pick.
As long as
will you be happy for Peyton Manning, though? As a former, he played for your team. Now he's playing for. Will you be happy for the guy?
I was happy for him when he got 55 in a year. I am a Peyton Manning fan above all else. Okay. I mean, cool. Peyton Manning is probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback that ever lived. Going back a few years, not right now.
So what were your thoughts when, I guess you were watching the Charger and Bronco game, what were your thoughts when Kubiak pulled Osweiler with Manning back in? I was surprised by that.
Yeah, I was too, but, and that's kind of my hope on that, is that Manning's going to come back in good health.
Right.
If Manning comes back in good health, there you go. I'll take them through the playoffs.
My thing, though, that's tough is he only threw 9 passes. And just watching all the games going up to the point where he got hurt and now he came back, it wasn't like he threw 20 times. Does that make sense? And I still been in that trepidation where I'm like, I don't know if that Peyton, this is going to be the best Peyton we've seen the entire year.
No, he's not going to be 100%. 100%. They've already said that he's not going to be able to be 100% until after the year. But
yeah,
he's better than Brock. I mean, Brock. If you look at it, the reason why they struggled in the second half of all them games is because they adjusted, and he's not, savvy enough to be able to adjust to their adjustment.
And there was a 3-game streak, right, where they had Dan score a point under Brock in the second half.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, but I'm watching those games with Denver and Brock at quarterback, and it doesn't seem like Peyton's helping him at all. Like Peyton's on his own, and Brock's here on the bench looking at the plays that are coming in, what happened, and Peyton could have helped him out a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Peyton said that he's not going to be in his ear during the game because he's already got enough of them. But at halftime and anytime Brock came up to him, he would always help him out. And at halftime, he always talked to them for the whole halftime of
Fair enough.
what he's seeing.
Okay.
Because a lot of them games he wasn't even on the field. It's only the game against the the Bengals was he was actually on the field.
Right. Right. So, and do you think this is Manning's last year's troop, or do you think he has one more in him?
Yeah, you know, I've kind of debated that, and at the beginning of the season, I kind of figured it would be his last season. So right now, they're kind of pointing toward next season. And if this isn't his last season, next year will be. I mean, I'll put it like that. And it might be very dependent upon how he does come playoff time.
No,
my thoughts were if he didn't come back and play and he was the backup for the playoffs, he was going to come back. But now that he's playing and he has a shot to get the title on his with him playing, I think this might be his last.
You know how the NFL loves a good story. You might want to put some money on Peyton Manning riding off into the sunset now.
Yeah, the NFL loves their stories. If you go back, the Patriots won in. Did the Patriots win in what was it?
01
2001?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was right after 9/11. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had the Ray Lewis. Then you had there's a couple other ones. I think
Jerome Bettis, right? He was,
Jerome Bettis is a good one. Yes.
John Elway,
right? I don't know.
John Elway.
I don't know if Manning's going to actually come out and say he's retiring though until after the season.
No, but I wouldn't expect anything different from him. That's what he usually does.
Peyton needs to retire using that HGH stuff, man. His head is big. I had to say that.
Even though, by the way, I think he's actually considering suing Al Jazeera for.
He should. Look at the guy. He's got the most spindliest arms and legs in the world. How can that guy be on HGH? No, honestly.
He's not built. I mean, it's not
My
like
daughter's got bigger arms than him.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a point for Clay Matthews, who's freaking chiseled like he's unbelievably built. But I mean, Manning has no muscle on him at all.
Fair enough. So, and then so for me though, when I look at what playoff game those group are you most excited to watch out of all four of them?
Man. You know what? Probably the Green Bay.
Green Bay?
Yeah. I think that's going to be a really good game, and it bothers me a little bit, but that'll be an exciting game.
That is going to be a good game. It really will be a good game.
Yeah, and I think again it's going to be a turning point for both franchises. Really, the Packers are under more pressure than the Redskins because the Redskins got to a point where they're good. Their fans are fine with where they're at this year.
Yeah.
They didn't expect to be here, and for that Rodgers thing, I'm going to stick with that Peyton Manning thing.
The Redskins are kind of like Minnesota. It's all house money now.
Yeah, it's all house money. Yep. And so are the Texans and Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe the team that's under the most pressure this weekend is the Bengals. Because here we go again.
Yeah, I think Bengals, Steelers, and Seahawks, Vikings are my two games that I really want to watch.
Yeah. Let's see.
What was that?
Sorry that TW couldn't make it. Tomorrow's his birthday, so he's probably partying a little bit.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
But
GW?
Until Saturday, so.
Who's that? GW?
Yeah.
What about Reno?
I hadn't seen Reno in about probably pushing 2 months.
Oh, he's not in jail again, is he?
No clue. Somewhere running, man.
All right, you want to plug your channel?
Character. He was a character, though.
Oh yeah. He's funny, man. He really is.
You had 3 different guests on your channel this year.
Yes, I did. In fact, I told Dave, since he took part in 2 of them, that come playoff time, he should have a little segment in there with us where he's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, my time is up here.
Okay, well, tell us about your channel and let everyone know where they can find you, Michael.
On YouTube, Michael Soup. That's like soup with the TR. And this stands for trust. Trust my picks.
Haha, very good. Okay, Kat, thanks a lot, eh?
Good to see you, man. All right, enjoy the game.
I'll catch you all later, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
See you later, man.
All right. Yeah, I just sent TJ the link. So,
Okay.
Beautiful.
I posted it also in the Facebook page. So it's these hangouts are new to a lot of the prognosticators. So bear with us as we try to get them all in one after another.
Yeah.
And we for those watching, we juggled the time slots around quite a bit too to accommodate as many as we could. So thanks for the patience.
Thanks for your patience.
Want to get you to as many perspectives as we can.
Yep, and as many different topics as well, with their respective teams as well.
You know, so many of the prognosticators are seem to work 2-3 jobs. It's a pretty industrious group.
Yeah,
they're not taking the man's money.
They had maybe we worked too hard to give the man our money.
Yeah, or the money exchange of money given, money back. It's not
too many people are betting on Guru's picks, you know.
Guru, unfortunately, will not be able to make it. The football guru has started a new channel as well. So we'll be posting that on the Facebook page. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to monetize, he told me, on his old channel, so he started brand new.
And remember, as Guru always says, he doesn't know anything else. He knows it's football.
Yes. You know, to his defense, a lot of the progs had a tough December, though.
Yeah. And his Raiders had it. But speaking of that, here's a good little point. What are your guys' thoughts on all the Rams, Chargers, and Raiders all recently fouled for LA?
They can't all go.
No, yeah, I think. I mean, I'm hoping it's not, because if the Chargers and Raiders both go, then they're gonna have to do their division.
Right. One of them's gonna have to go to the NFC.
I mean, it would suck because I wouldn't mind the Chargers going to the NFC, but if the Raiders were to, then the Broncos-Raiders rivalry is a very good one, and that would be gone.
Right. But you know what's funny though? I think for LA, knowing with the 3 teams that they have possible, I don't think they want that. If you look at the Rams, no winning season since 2003, and
Jeff Fisher for you.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying since 2000.
No quarterback.
No quarterback, right? The Raiders, same thing. Sorry, Guru. I know we just talked. Sorry, Guru, about your Raiders, but still, no winning season. No winning season for the Raiders since 2003. And then the Chargers, they missed the playoffs 5 of the last 6 years. So if you're in LA, if you're someone from LA, I don't think you're really that optimistic to say, man, we're getting a great franchise.
The Raiders are up and coming.
They are.
Some talent. Finally.
They do.
Now that the old man, rest his soul, finally died.
Yeah, I think the Raiders are the best out of them 3.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And the Chargers did get killed with injuries this year.
Yeah.
But Jeff Fisher, I'm telling you, here's a guy who, I saw maybe it was a Matt stat, 15 out of 20 years, his team has finished 8-8 or lower.
Yep.
Yeah, he's like unfireable, I guess. I don't know.
Right. Oh, you know what? Here's my favorite one that I found out. Since the merger, only Dave Shula and Lou Saban were the only 2 other coaches to have 4 consecutive losing seasons to start out and come back for a 5th year.
Yeah, maybe they're worrying too much about relocating and not worrying about the product on the field.
I think Jeff knows he has a history with that with the Oilers. He has a history with that. So
we're just waiting for Terrell here. He's supposed to be coming on.
Yeah.
TJ, if you're watching, we sent you the link, buddy.
Yeah, we sent you the link, and I'll put it in here again.
It'll be good to hear from TJ. He's one of many Philadelphia Eagles fans on the Facebook page amongst the prognosticators. That was a tough roller coaster year. Tough couple of years for Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, and by the way, they just finished interviewing Adam Gase the other day, and from what I heard, they're inviting him back for a second interview. So I think that's a positive sign.
Was that like an 8-hour interview they gave him?
Yes, an 8-hour interview. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard that Gase actually interviewed very well, and whenever he's gotten the chance, but for some reason or another, no one wanted to give him the job.
That's the same thing with Arians. Arians and Zimmer, our guy in Minnesota, he interviewed very well. Don't know why. They just kept passing those guys over.
Yeah, I think the 49ers were actually the closest to hiring him last year, but they went with, the guy they fired already.
And
So.
Tom Sula.
Yeah, so I guess that was a bad choice on their part. But.
Yeah, and that was amazing because I think Gase had 5 interviews. Gase got interviewed by 5 different teams last year, and I would have thought that someone would have taken a chance.
There he is.
There we go.
TJ.
TJ.
All right, there he's not.
We see your picture, TJ.
Can you hear us? Can you speak?
There he is.
There he is. There he's not.
Or is that another picture? Is that a picture?
It's just like the Eagles season, frozen in time.
Pretty good. That was pretty good.
Oh, I think he's working it. He's pressed the mute button.
Yeah, he's trying.
Well, he's got his Philadelphia Eagles hat on, and that's good for him.
Yep. And
he's trying to run Chip Kelly's up-tempo offense.
There he is. Hey, TJ. Oh, he froze again.
Hey, TJ.
We can't hear you, TJ.
We can hear you. Did you mute your mic?
Can't hear you.
TJ's doing his best imitation of a mime. TJ, we can't hear you, man.
Hey, my brother just texted me. He's watching.
Oh, good. It's a family. Yeah, that's good.
He can come on too if we're on. He's the real secret behind the success of gioknows.com. I had to say that.
Oh, a little plug. There it is. There it is.
Yep. Let's take the man's money, right, Gio?
That's right. We still have a couple of more chances.
Yep.
Maybe, TJ, you can press the link again?
Okay.
You might have had the problem I was having last time. Remember when I joined it and you guys couldn't hear me?
Yeah.
I had that problem, too, the last time we did one of these. I had to switch computers.
I don't know if does he have earbuds in?
TJ, I think your mic, you're muted.
Yeah, if you click your mic, please.
Can you hear us now? Say something.
Yeah, do you have headphones on?
I can hear a little bit.
I've been able to hear anything. Have you been able to hear anything, Billy?
No.
No. So
I'm
everybody.
I'm seeing his lips move and his.
Yeah,
his
he's doing his best imitation of a mime. But it's great to see him and a lot of great, physical moving, but not much, not much voice.
Maybe we'll try him again at 9.
Take three. TJ?
Okay, he's gone. Maybe we can send him a message to try again.
Yeah, we
can at 9.
I guess while I was in here, I guess we could talk about the Eagles. And again, Billy actually you live around the Philadelphia area yourself, right? So,
yeah, I actually grew up, born and raised in Philadelphia, actually.
Right. So what were your thoughts on all the Chip Kelly stuff that went on over the last week and a half?
I mean, the fans are really excited about it here. I think it was, whoever comes in and coaches them is 2 years away because he's got to fix all the messes that Chip left them with. I mean, I heard somewhere like Jeffrey Lurie gave them like $5 million for all of his like sleep study and his smoothies and all that crap. So, there's a lot of things that need to be changed in Philly. And I'm hearing it's Doug Peterson's job to lose Gio's Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator right now. He's an Andy Reid guy. He knows Jeffrey Lurie and the Eagles organization. And they usually like to go on the offensive side. So I think they're saying it's.
Deuce Staley got an interview, correct? Deuce Staley?
I think that was a Rooney Rule thing.
Oh, fair enough. That's a good point. Okay, so TJ just said I think he could try at 9. Is that what he said?
It's probably good at
Yes.
9.
Okay.
We have Logan coming up. Maybe we can ask him to come in a little earlier.
Or do you want to put like Dante?
Or who else is there on the docket?
Dante's up next.
Who's up next? Sorry.
Dante,
The Broncos fan.
the one that Billy found.
Yes. Yeah, poor thing about Philadelphia. You know, that was a bad experiment for Philly. The way that Chip Kelly runs the offense, they run so many plays, so the offense is on the field for many plays, but so is the defense. And the time that he was there, the Eagles led the league in most plays by the offense and defense, or they were 1 and 2 every year. And you can't do that. What happens is by December you're finished. And the Eagles didn't finish strong. Remember last year? I think they were 9 and 3 going into.
They jumped Dallas on Thanksgiving.
And they had nothing left in December, and then they missed the playoffs. It's that style of play. You can't do that. Maybe in college when you only play 11 games, and some of the teams are scrubs that are second division, and you've got 90 people on your team. Yeah, you can get away with that, but not in the NFL.
I'm not sure if this is true or not. Maybe Matt can back me up, but I believe the Eagles were the only team that actually had full practices on Saturday before a game.
Yes.
I believe a lot of the teams have walkthroughs on Saturday, but he actually had full padded practices on Saturdays.
Yeah, but also I think one thing that Chip did, and everybody, is that Chip is a guy that wanted a bunch of Indians, but not Chiefs. If that makes sense, he wanted a bunch of cogs for his system that would just follow what he would say. And to me, when you run an environment like that, that's not a good environment to run a football team, in my opinion. Where you have to do everything, even if you're struggling, by his rule, and if you don't, you get cut.
He was a bit of a micromanager.
Yes, absolutely.
On an NFL team, you have natural leaders.
Right.
On both sides of the ball, who in the huddle will say something. And I think Chip discouraged that.
Yeah, a lot of the players said that he was too much of a dictator. And I mean, you can't get rid of talent. He always said scheme beat talent, but I mean, this is a league about talent.
Right.
Right, absolutely. And to me, when I looked at what Chip did, he also just seemed like a guy that was very just ignorant of the media, because there were times this year when someone would ask, "Are you the general manager of this team?" and he would just flat out deny it. And then I think right after he got fired, he said to Jay Glazer, the ESPN guy, or the Fox guy, he said, "Well, when you're the general manager and head coach of this team, it's one of those idiotic things where he just kept contradicting himself."
Gio, check that message I just sent you.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be tough for whoever comes in for the Eagles to.
Yeah, because also I believe they're going to make some cuts on the offensive line. I don't expect Jason Peters or Jason Kelsey to be back. Sam Bradford's a questionable quarterback. The franchise about you don't know. So if they get Adam Gase, that'll be the big savior for him. Because if he can make Jay Cutler look good, he definitely can make Sam Bradford look good.
Well, that's if he stays. I mean, I've been hearing that Bradford didn't really like it here.
So that was just a bunch of lip service?
What?
That he said, I really enjoyed my time in Philadelphia. So that was just a bunch of lip service?
Yeah, I think that was probably agent talk. But, I mean, from what I've been hearing from the radio and all that stuff, is he didn't really he's definitely going to be headed to free agency to see what he can get. And,
I think the only team that should be interested are the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, well, Houston might be.
Yeah, they could be, but they might stick with Hoyer. That might be a competition. Brian Hoyer and Bradford. Two really, not the same kind of guys. And speaking of NFC East team, what were your guys' thoughts on Tom Coughlin's resignation? Yeah, that's a good.
I honestly don't think he resigned. I think he got fired, and as you could tell by when he walked right past Morrow after he was looking for a handshake or a hug or something, he just walked right past him.
Yeah, that's a good point. That was kind of a telling message there, and kind of what the reaction he had. Oh, and it looks like Guru can get on here in a bit. It seems like, actually. So,
unfortunately, when Dante joined and I took her off because she was early, I might have blocked her. I don't know how to unblock her now.
I think you might just have to go back to your contacts or the people that you just put her in and just click and see unblock.
Where do I do that?
It might be in the conversation, or just type her email in and see if you can just click that and invite her that way, or just find out that way. Yeah, it's you're a good point that I could think about. Let's see. So, here we go. With New England, I guess with all their injuries, do you think that with everybody getting back healthy, do you think they can beat Denver, or in Denver, or what are the chances of the Patriots going down this final stretch so far?
Depends. I mean, the Broncos have a lot of injuries too. It depends on how they heal. Both their safeties are hurt. Their inside linebacker Brandon Marshall's got a sprained ankle, and Chris Harris hurt his shoulder. So we have a lot of injuries too. So hopefully we can get back to being healthy. But I think it would be a good game. I wouldn't see why the Patriots couldn't win it.
Yeah, I think to me, it's just always something to me. If you have Tom Brady, you're in a good spot where you can beat anyone.
It's tough to beat the same team twice in a season as well.
Yeah, and I think again, KC, if they have to go up to New England, I think they'll play a competitive game. Andy's always played pretty well against Bill, and I think that should be a very interesting perspective of a game. So. See, I'm trying to think. So,
Billy, could you try inviting Dante in again? I think I sent her an invitation, but I'm not sure if she's gotten it yet.
Yeah, I sent her. I just sent her one too.
Okay, maybe send her a message.
Yeah.
I apologize. I did not mean to do that.
Yeah, send me the link in the Facebook group chat, and I'll copy and paste it to her.
Sure.
She can click it on the Facebook page. She can. It's on there. I left the link.
And I just put it back in the thing again. Oh, and by the way, I just talked to Gavin, and the reason why he wasn't on 7:50, he wanted to get on to about 8:50.
I know Guru might be trying to get in, so maybe we can get some time for Guru.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
she's saying there's bad storms where she's at, so her internet's a little slow, so she's trying to figure it out.
Okay.
Fair
enough.
Fair enough. That makes sense. So, what head coach were you most surprised with that did not get fired?
Jeff Fisher.
Jeff Fisher. Yeah.
I think with me it's Pagano.
Pagano. Yeah, I gotta have to agree with Billy on this one. It's Fisher for me because losing season. Let's think about this, right? The Redskins have made the playoffs 2 times since they traded all those picks to the Rams.
Yeah, exactly. I am not a Jeff Fisher fan. I don't know how he stays in the league. I know Matt, you don't like Gus Bradley for Jacksonville.
Yes. And see, my thing is with Gus Bradley is this, and I'll explain. To me, I don't really care about circumstance. I'm a guy that if you have 3 straight losing seasons, which Gus Bradley's had, you do not deserve to keep your job. And I understand the Jags had to overhaul a roster, okay? But let's understand this. In the final game of the year, that offense, which was a top 10 offense, right, put up its lowest amount of points in the entire year. 6 against the Texans. Okay, the Texans defense is pretty good, but if that Jaguars offense who has Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns, I like to call them the double-A battery. You got the two of them. You got Thomas, and you got a quality Jags team. This team should have had more wins, or should have at least possibly gotten 8 wins.
Gio. It's still saying that she can't join. She's blocked. So I'm reading now. If you click on the settings at the top of your friends list.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And then click highlight block. There's a block on the left side.
I don't see it. The settings is that little wheel button.
Settings, I believe.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have it. I'm just searching on Google.
Settings is the dots, or no, settings is the wheel. Yeah, wheel.
It says enable auto load, mute notification sounds, and auto load last used lower, whatever that means. Oh, I'm sorry, Dante. That's my fault. I didn't realize that by taking you off.
Drop down menu. Scroll down the menu until you see block people and click on it.
I don't see it.
Or is it on the Google Hangout itself? Is it on the Google Hangout page itself? Like where like you're hosting it, and
yeah, I'm looking everywhere, guys. You guys keep talking, and I'll see if I can find it.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So when I look at Gus Bradley, I'm just a guy that like I don't really care what the circumstances are. You have to get to 500 in 3 years. And
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I just think that he made a little step forward this year, so we'll see. I give him one more year if it was me.
It's not that much of a step forward. He had 4 wins last year. He got to 5 now. He won 2 more games.
Well, if you look at the wins losses, it's not a big thing. But if you look at the team and how they performed, I think it's a big difference.
Yeah, but at the same time, I could spin that the other way. Their kicker, who they traded Scobie for, right? They traded Josh Scobie to Pittsburgh, and he got cut. He cost them 2 games because remember he had the 3 misses against the Colts, right?
Mm-hmm. And
he had 3 missed extra points against the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really blame the coach for that.
Well, that was a personnel decision. Well, here's the thing: the coach and the GM had to make that decision together. It wasn't like the GM just made it on his own and said, "Oh, we're gonna get
Yeah, but kickers really aren't players, so.
Well, but those are 2 games that they could have had, possibly. And it's just something where when I look at this Jags team, I'm just like, it's hard to just accept that because like when you look at like with Tom Coughlin, he got fired with 3 straight losing seasons, then him out. Jeff Fisher, is on 4 straight. And it's just something where like I just haven't seen that much improvement from the Jags in kind of a overall sense. Remember, this was a team that this year lost to 2 teams on 6-game losing streaks at home in the same year.
Yeah, I mean,
that's bad.
This year has been really weird for kickers. I've never seen so many carousel kickers in the league. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, actually, by the way, this year has been the most missed extra points since 1977.
Yep.
So I believe that's an interesting perspective there. But that rule's worked out pretty well, I have to admit. It's given. I think it's also in the psyche of the kicker, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to cost anybody a playoff game.
We'll have to wait and see. Let's see. If you look at the kickers, New England probably has the best one. It's
Absolutely.
Hauschka's good, and Kansas City's kicker is really good.
Santos.
Yes.
I put Hauschka over Santos.
Oh, I don't know. He's good, man. He had that one game that he got 7, 8 field goals.
7 field goals, yeah. That's because Alex Smith can't put it in the end zone.
Wow.
When he botched that kick, you remember that he just froze? It was like a 46-yard field goal, and he just froze. And he ended up throwing the ball out to the fullback.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I do. It was last week. And that was just really bad because even there's a great picture of the coordinator, just his eyes are bugged out going, Yeah. So, Gio, how's that looking up there?
I can't find the way to invite somebody else back. I invited her from my end a couple of times, but I don't know if she's got the link.
She
Sorry, Don.
she just shut her computer off and was trying again, so we'll see what
Okay.
happens.
Oh, there you go.
What?
Or that's why she wasn't on. Okay.
Oh, okay. Maybe she didn't get my invite then.
Well, it says she's blocked. She can't come in.
Is she on the computer right now?
Yeah.
Well, she just turned it off.
Huh?
Can you just say she just turned it off?
Yeah, she just messaged me saying that she's blocked. She can't come in.
But she's turned her computer off and now she turned it back on. Maybe she can.
No,
Maybe
she just
I blocked
yeah,
her. Oh, there we have Mr. Schiff.
Hey!
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yep.
you. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, how are you?
Doing good. Alrighty,
Going on.
we got the fire starter here.
Sorry about your Jets, Logan.
Talk about my Jets like I want to talk about my Jets. They do what the
Yeah.
Jets do.
Yeah.
They effed up. The only good thing that comes out of it is we don't have to pay Ryan Fitzpatrick $15 million a year for 3 years now.
Or 5.
We weren't going to pay him for 5.
I don't know. 39. You get to have quarterback play till 39. So.
We weren't. I don't think either. Unless he brought us to the AFC Championship game, we weren't going to pay him until 5 years.
So Logan, I guess I'm asking all the prop. So who you got for wild
Who do I
card week?
got? To win the Super Bowl or just in the wild card games right now?
Just the wild card game. Just the wild card games right now.
Bengals over Pittsburgh because I believe in A.J. McCarron. I also do not believe in the Steelers' defense. The Bengals' defense will hold them enough, the Steelers' offense enough, to where A.J. McCarron will be able to get, 21 points and then win the game. The Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger has not been looking good the last 2 games, so I believe in A.J. McCarron. I believe in how he has the experience of the SEC to be able to deal with the pressure. And he won't play great, but he'll play good enough. Then you got the Chiefs versus the Texans. I got the Chiefs winning that game. The Chiefs are a really well-coached team, probably top 3 coaches in the league in Andy Reid. The only way Texans win is if J.J. Watt and DeAndre Hopkins go off on either side of the ball. The Chiefs have a very good defense. Andy Reid is he just coaches his teams very well. He never has a lot of talent on his teams, but he gets the best out of what he has. And this team can come out of the AFC. I don't think they will, but I think every AFC team is crap. And even including the Jets. If the Jets were in the playoffs, obviously I wouldn't be saying that. But I didn't pick, even when the Jets had a chance to make the playoffs last year, I had an NFC winning the Super Bowl anyway. Then you got
Seattle, Minnesota.
I have Seattle winning that game 31-10.
Ooh.
I have that, but I also am open to the opposite. I'm open to Adrian Peterson. It's either going to be Adrian Peterson getting 75 yards and no touchdowns, or Adrian Peterson going for 200 yards and getting 3 touchdowns. There's no in between. That's not going to happen. Seattle is too good of a team. Seattle is going to be like, okay, this is our plan, and if it works, it works, which it worked last time they played. And if it doesn't work, they're going to fail miserably. This game is going to be either a huge failure for Seattle or a huge success. I don't see it going. And maybe the score will be more indicative of like a close game. But I'm telling you, this will be a blowout, even if it's not the score saying it. As in, one team will outplay the other. I believe it will be Seattle. And
then Green Bay at Washington.
I have Washington winning that game 21-20.
Okay.
Washington.
Like touchdown or like field goal?
Green Bay is going to get 2 field goals and 2 touchdowns, which will make it 20, and then Redskins will get 3 touchdowns and make every extra point.
Okay.
The Redskins, Jordan Reed will probably get 2 of the touchdowns. Deshaun Jackson will have a decent game, and Jordan Reed will have over 100 yards. He is a huge mismatch, and no one can guard him on Green Bay. They pretty much wish they had A.J. Hawk back because A.J. Hawk would at least put up a fight. What else? I believe in Kirk Cousins as a decent quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. The only reason why this game is going to be this close is because Aaron Rodgers is on the other side. This is what's gonna. I said this actually on the radio, on the online radio show I'm on now, which is sportsonthego1.com, which is on every night, which is actually on now. I said that they're gonna win. Aaron Rodgers is gonna get them the lead. It's gonna be 20-14 with 2 minutes left, around 2 minutes, and that defense is gonna let them down, and they're gonna win 21-20.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. But to everybody out there, here's something great about Logan this year. He has definitely been one of the most overcritical Cam Newton skeptics for the most valuable player award, and Gio and I and other people we've had spirited debates. But Logan, you did say something to me the other day. You said that you willingly conceded that after the game he had against the Bucs and after how Palmer played against Seattle, that you willingly conceded that Newton got the MVP.
And Tom Brady, the way he played against the Jets, he won by default. And I'm not saying that and that sounds bad. But I'm not trying to make it sound bad. But if you're saying Cam Newton is a great MVP, if you compare him to other MVPs of the whatever, he's not. It's just not. There's no argument. Of course, he's had an amazing season. I'm not a Cam Newton hater. I don't hate Cam Newton.
Did you just call him the worst MVP of all time?
No, over the last few years.
Okay.
Over the last few years. I could totally, statistically, it's no question. But obviously, statistics aren't everything that matters. It's wins.
15-1 is a pretty good statistic, Logan.
Being in the bottom half of starting QBs and QBR is a great statistic also. And that's why he's not going to win the Super Bowl or even get to the NFC Championship game.
Try to remember that he was missing his number one wide receiver from last year, who was a rookie last year, and his number one receiver this year was a rookie. Who missed a lot of the regular season, and he carried that team on his big shoulders by himself for a lot of the season.
He also was the second leading running back on the team behind Stewart.
He has the third leading rusher on the team.
Oh, okay.
Cam. Are you saying Cam's the second leading rusher?
Yeah, I'm just saying just overall.
Well, he is I think the third or the fourth leading rusher in the league. And if you're talking about injuries, there's not one team out there that you could say right now that hasn't had a significant injury in the playoffs. Alex Smith hasn't played with Jamal Charles the entire season, just like Cam Newton hasn't played with his best receiver, Kelvin Benjamin. And look at how they did. They started out 1-5, and then they went undefeated. They're right now hotter than. I don't think they have a better chance than the Panthers to make the Super Bowl. They have the longest record in the NFL right now. Actually, you know what? I can say right now with certainty that Kansas City has a better chance of making the Super Bowl than Carolina, because Carolina has a much harder road than Kansas City does.
That's because the NFC is harder, you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carolina is going to play Seattle next, if my opinion happens, which I think it will. And then they're going to have to play Arizona. They're not winning both of those games. It's not happening.
I think that they would have a harder time against Arizona than I believe Seattle.
I think Seattle's got it. They have a mission. They're on a mission, dude.
They're
on a mission. They want to prove the skeptics wrong, and Russell Wilson has played out of his mind.
He has. He's thrown 24 touchdowns to 1 interception over the last 7 weeks.
The only reason why Russell Wilson didn't win the MVP this year
he got hot too late.
Is he got hot too late, and he doesn't have the record. He didn't have Marshawn Lynch. He didn't have Jimmy Graham for half the season, which are the two biggest offensive players on his team.
They got better when Graham got hurt.
Yeah, he got better.
Well, but that's beside it. You're still losing a big piece. I understand he got better, but still losing a big piece. We don't know what Cam Newton would have been like if Kelvin Benjamin was on the team. Maybe they would have been maybe they would have hated each other. Who knows? We can't say. We're guessing he would be good, but you really can't say for sure, because would you tell me, Russell Wilson will be 100% better if Jimmy Graham was on the team right now? You didn't know that for sure before it happened.
I said that all year that was a bad fit for that team. All year, right from the get-go. And I wasn't surprised.
I thought it was a bad fit, but I don't think that Russell Wilson would be better without him.
He's been better without him.
No, I said, no. That is 100%.
Are you saying the team?
What?
Were we talking about just Russell Wilson individually or the team?
Well, no, Russell Wilson and Seattle are better without Jimmy Graham. It just shows.
Right.
But I don't think Jimmy Graham's a bad player. I think Jimmy Graham's a great player. I think he's a top 5 tight end in this league. But he's just not for that team. It's just that doesn't fit. Um,
I agree with that.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So I mean, and it just happens, and that's why Jimmy Graham will never be the best tight end of all time, because when you're the best at something, you fit on any team. LeBron will fit on any team. Steph Curry will fit on any team. Tom Brady, any team. But because they're that good of a talent. But I just Carolina. I'm not a Carolina hater. I really am not. It's just I watch them so closely, almost as closely as the Jets.
Call you a skeptic?
To where, yeah, I'm a skeptic. I don't hate them. I actually like them. I love Cam Newton as a person. From what he does with children and everything, and how he is as a player, and how he got better from last year. But I'm a skeptic. Like, and it seems like ESPN is on board because Arizona looks ridiculous. I know they just got beat bad, but if you're going to get beat bad, that was the time to do it right before the playoffs because now you could fix it. Seattle made a huge statement. In the power rankings for ESPN, they actually had a power rankings right after that game. Seattle was the #1 team in the power rankings, which I know power rankings are just an opinion.
Wait, was that out of everybody or out of the playoff teams? Because I remember
playoff teams.
Yeah, wasn't that by Mike Sando? I think Mike Sando.
Yeah, something like that. Which then someone else came out with Carolina being the best team. Fine. Which I can't. I mean, it's an argument. I can't say for certain that Carolina's not there, but whatever. And I'm gonna get off in 1 minute. Listen to what's going on here. Listen to sportsonthego1.com. I'm the producer for the show. It's a great show. Thank you guys for letting me come on. I just gonna tell you, Gio, right now. I really love Adrian Peterson. I really hope he goes off because he's one of the best players to watch, in my opinion. The Cardinals are my pick to win the actual Super Bowl right now, to be honest. And Seattle. I bet on the Cardinals and Seattle to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So.
Which I know contradict each other, but I think that's going to happen. I have it at 11-2 for Arizona and 8-1 at Seattle.
Who's coming
in?
in?
Who do you have them beating?
What?
Who do you have them beating?
What do you have them? I'm sorry.
Who do you have them beating in the Super Bowl?
Seattle. Oh. All right. Can I get 1 minute?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. The AFC is not winning the Super Bowl. I'll tell you, and I went through this with Matt. And
fine, but who's representing? Who's representing the AFC?
Who's representing? Steelers are not representing because of their defense. Chiefs are not representing because they're not enough playmakers. It's either going to be the Patriots or the Broncos. The Patriots will represent. I got to say I'll have the Patriots because the Patriots are just amazing. Tom Brady is a ridiculous. Bill Belichick, whatever. I really hope it doesn't happen. But the Broncos are a better team. They'll represent if their quarterback shows up. But I don't know if that's going to happen, so I'm going to pick the Patriots.
Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough.
So
but I actually am on board with.
What?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I actually agree with. I actually am agreeing with you with the Panthers. I'm a skeptic as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
I kind of have to side with Gio on this one though. I've kind of bought that Panther pride.
Well, I'm not saying they can't make it to the Super Bowl, but I think Arizona's a better team than Carolina.
I think Seattle's a better team too. And by the way, you will come to the dark side soon enough. Have a good night, guys.
I'm good to see you.
Yeah.
Gavin. Great.
Hello.
Hey, Gavin.
We hear you, Gavin.
I'm sorry, I was very busy, but I'm good
That's
now.
all right. That's all right, but you still got on. So are you feeling all right, man? You were pretty irritated on Sunday night. You had a rough night, huh?
Yeah, I was more pissed.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad butt kicking, wasn't it?
It's about the worst we've been this whole year.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of very ironic how last week the Seahawks became you guys and you guys became the Packers from the week before.
Yeah.
See, so hey, Guru.
Hey, Guru, come back in 10 minutes.
Yeah, come back in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be short because I gotta go actually right now. But
okay.
I'll stay for like 5 minutes. I'll stay for like 5 minutes.
Okay. Who you got, Gavin? Who you got this weekend?
Kansas City in the first game. No way Texans win. Texans should even be in the playoffs. Just a joke. Well, the AFC South this year is a joke. It's like the NFC South from last year. Just like no one should be in the playoffs from that team. And then I got Pittsburgh winning sadly, just because they have a better quarterback.
And we finally got somebody else picking Pittsburgh. We've had 4 straight people come on and say Cincinnati.
I just don't think Cincinnati with the backup quarterback and all their playoff woes in the last few years. I don't think that they can do it this year. Maybe next year.
Okay, and then how about the NFC games?
Sadly, I got Seattle. I I think Seattle's the up and coming team. And I just think that what I saw Sunday, they're just going to beat the Vikings. It'll be a really close game. I really hope the Vikings win, but I think Seattle's just a hotter team right now.
Okay, and then the final one, Packers and Skins.
I'm rooting for the Redskins, but I got the Packers. I just think you can't vote against Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. He'll somehow win the game. He's got the Hail Mary on his side, and he's got the Des Bryant catch on his side, so luck is on his side always in January, so you got to pick the Packers.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I think Arizona, I think they'd rather play Washington, I think, than play Green Bay.
Yeah, so then I got Carolina, Seattle, and Green Bay Packers. But yeah.
Who do you have in the Super Bowl since you got a couple
the whole
minutes?
time I got the Cardinals and the Patriots, and I got the Cardinals beating the Patriots.
Fair enough.
I mean, I think that the Broncos can contest, but I think Peyton Manning's injured, and he's gonna show it just like he did a few years ago when he lost to the Andrew Luck. He's injured.
All right, guys.
And
One second.
Will you agree, Billy? He's just too injured.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how. He's not going to be 100%. That's a given, but it depends on how he feels. You know, the week off helps.
His last chance was when he had Seattle in the Super Bowl, and he choked.
Sorry, guys, about my phone. Sorry about that.
No problem.
His last chance was when he had Seattle in the Super Bowl, and he choked.
Well, the whole team didn't show up, but yeah, I agree.
Fair enough.
That was a team failure for sure. That one game.
Yeah. It all started with the first play of the game.
I'll see what Broncos do, but as of right now, I got the Patriots in the AFC. But if the Broncos show up, I'll switch to the Broncos. I just want to see what Peyton does on his first playoff game.
All right.
Yeah, good call.
Okay. All right, so Gavin, go real quick if you want to plug your channel before you have to go.
I am Gavin OC4. I'll probably do maybe a power rankings this week, maybe a picks if I find some time. Yeah, I just make picks for fun. I like watching the game. I like just rooting for my Cardinals. Hopefully we make it to the Super Bowl this year and maybe win. That'd be great if we get our first Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I think
playing really well.
You've got a good shot at it, Gavin.
So do you, Gio. I wouldn't mind seeing the Vikings win.
Yeah, maybe in a couple of years. We're a young team, but this could be Arizona's year. Arizona.
I just hope you kick Pete Carroll's ass.
Yeah, a lot of people are. Maybe Arizona, Denver would be the best
great.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Gavin.
Good to see you, man. All right.
Bye, Gavin.
Okay, good to see
you. See you later, Gav.
See you, man.
Yeah, bye.
Now we're going to welcome the one and only football guru.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Guru.
What's going on, fella?
Glad you could make it, buddy.
Good to see you.
I'm kind of. I haven't been on a Hangout so doggone long on my laptop. It's like I got to get familiar with this again.
Yeah, no, but it's good to see you, though, man. And it's wild card weekend, so I've been asking about who you got, or have you thought about it yet, or who you got?
Yeah, the Kansas City Houston game can be a bit of a toss up, but I like Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that game can go either way.
I agree with that.
I'm still the only one that is picking the Texans. Every single person is on the Chiefs.
Yeah, Billy, if you want to NFL Network lone wolf us, unless TJ does, you want to lone wolf us there, that'd be.
That makes me even more comfortable. Everybody's on the Chiefs.
Yeah. All right. So then what about Steelers Bengals? I think I've had an even split. I think in that game. Is that right, guys? Or have you been keeping track? You got an even split?
Yeah, it's about even. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about even.
If their quarterback was playing, I would take Cincinnati. Other than that, I got to take Pittsburgh.
Good man. You made the right choice.
I got to take Pittsburgh.
Yeah. All right. So there's that one. And then what about the NFC games? Are you gonna go bold with Gio? Are you gonna stick with Gio? You need some help.
I like Seattle.
Oh.
I mean, I'm glad Minnesota won the North, but I don't think that they will have enough to deal with Seattle in that game. I think right now, when I look at the NFL period, four teams are really scary right now to me, and that's Pittsburgh, Seattle, Denver, and Arizona. Those are four scary teams to me.
I would agree with that. I think if New England was healthy, I would put them in two. Or New England's New England, I think. If they were fully healthy, you could put them in two.
Carolina doesn't scare you, Guru?
No. Carolina, and the reason why they don't scare me, towards the end of the season, their defense started blowing too many leads for me, man, and that just doesn't sit well.
I think it was like the New Orleans game. I think that was the first one where everybody was going, yeah, that was...
Yeah, they did it against the Giants. They did it a few
Giants
games.
was the one that I remember.
That's not a good thing going into the playoffs.
No, it's not. So
They lost another cornerback, didn't they? The Panthers lost a cornerback.
Charles Tillman, right? Yeah, he tore his ACL.
Yeah,
Is it a tear? Is it just a couple of weeks?
No, he tore his ACL. He's out for the.
That was this Week 17 game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
initially, when the season started, matter of fact, I talked to Gavin, and I took New England and Arizona initially, and I still believe Arizona will make it to the Super Bowl because of the injuries to New England. I think the door has opened for Denver and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think Denver getting home field advantage was huge because for them, if they had to go on the road, like back to New England, where Manning hasn't won there in the last 3 tries as a Bronco, that's a huge advantage. And also, by the way, like I said earlier, Tom Brady only has 1 losing record against one team, and that is the Broncos, and he's only 2-7 all time on the road.
Oh, wow.
I don't think he has a very good record against the Vikings either.
I can look that up. I'll have to see that, but
That's all right.
So, and then what about the Packers and Skins? That's been a really interesting debate.
That game to me, the Packers should win, in my opinion. I can see Washington playing above their head for about 3 quarters. The key to it will be if Green Bay will be able to mount any resemblance of a running game.
Yeah.
And if their receivers can get open.
Lacey's fat and Starks fumbles the ball too much. And that's the problem with the running game.
I think didn't Pro Football Focus come out with an article saying that Rodgers' receiving core was the slowest in the NFL? Oh my God, it was like their combine speeds, like out of all the groups that the guys have, it's the slowest in the NFL. I think that was.
I would be surprised.
Oh, who?
I didn't hear what you said, Matt.
What I said is that I thought I heard an article where apparently Rodgers' receiving core was the slowest in the NFL.
Could be.
Can you hear me, Guru, or no? Or
yeah, I heard you.
I didn't hear that, Matt. But I guess you lose your number 1 wide receiver all year, and
right.
That hurts. I mean, Rodgers didn't have what's his name there?
Jordy Nelson, white chocolate.
Jordy Nelson all year, and he's a burner.
He is, absolutely. So to me, I think one interesting thing that I want to see is, and also, Guru's a big Raiders fan, right? Big Raiders fan, right? Big Raiders fan.
Raiders in Tampa Bay.
Raiders in Tampa Bay. So let me ask you about, so what are your thoughts on the Raiders LA movement?
I don't like it. Oakland Raiders, man. I mean, yeah, they won a Super Bowl when they was in LA. Okay,
they went 2?
No, just one.
Just one.
I believe they should stay in Oakland.
They gotta stay in Oakland. It's the Raiders. They gotta stay. It makes so much sense. The Oakland Raiders.
Here was something I heard on the radio today, and it's kind of interesting.
Sure.
That 3 teams applied to move to LA.
Yes.
And that those cities where the teams may potentially move from should do like Cleveland did and file a petition to keep the team's name, so that way if the team leaves, they then have to get a new name.
like we did when we took the Browns.
Right. Like
Yeah.
when the Browns left Cleveland and we went to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Hey, Guru, I mentioned this earlier. So I was saying if the Raiders and Chargers both go to LA, they're going to have to do some alignment things with the division. And I wouldn't want the Raiders to leave the West because the Broncos and Raiders rivalry is such a good one, and they would lose that if they went to the NFC.
You know, they may end up switching Seattle with or one of those teams out.
Yeah, I've been hearing that they might change like Arizona or San Francisco and bring them over to the West, the AFC West, and then either the Chargers or the Raiders would move to the NFC West. But I mean, their Broncos-Raiders rivalry is so good. I don't want to lose that.
Right.
Or there's an underlying message in there. He wants revenge for what happened in the last game.
Well, hey, I'll tell you this, Matt. They shouldn't have won the first time we played them.
Fair enough. Yeah, if Carr doesn't throw that pick. Yeah, that's a good point. If Carr doesn't throw that pick.
Well,
yeah.
Hey, it's not 2 easy wins like it usually is. It's been.
No, but you know what though? I just got something, and I thought, and I know, and I'll mention this to everybody. I mentioned something where Calvin Johnson was considering retirement. To me, and this applies to Guru because I wanted to ask him. I believe the Raiders have the most salary cap room in the NFL.
Yes.
Right. So to me, I think if he got out of that contract and wanted to get a contract, I would see Calvin Johnson next year if he wasn't a Lion, he still wanted to play as an Oakland Raider. And how would you feel about that?
No.
Oh, you wouldn't want it?
No.
Oh.
And unless he took a nice, comfy little veteran deal, you know, where it was beneficial to the team, if he wanted big money, I would say pass.
Well,
okay.
if he wants to win, I'm sure he would go to like the Patriots or. No offense to Guru or anything. The Raiders aren't going to win it next year.
No, but my dream was, and I guess my thing was, if you could have Calvin at the 1, Cooper at the 2, and then Crabtree at the 3, and then Derek Carr throwing the football, that looks really fun.
Yeah, but if he's gonna take a veteran deal, he's gonna go to the best team he thinks can win the Super Bowl.
If that defense, if they get some defensive picks, I think that Raider team, they could. Well, okay, but maybe not that year, but they could.
They could in a couple of years, but I don't think next year they'll be.
No, but I don't think that they would. Or Guru, do you think that if they got Calvin, hypothetically, let's say, like, do you think that you would expect a Super Bowl if they got Calvin? If they got him. No. Right. So
I think they're probably 2 to 3 years away from seriously contending because the defense right now is just a mess. The back four, you know, our DBs are. Emerson came in and did pretty well, but other than that, the rest of those guys, they look like garbage.
And you just lost Woodson. I guess that's a good question. What were your thoughts on Woodson's career? I was extremely happy for him, you know, in Oakland to go out that way with that game.
I'll tell you, he went to high school. I actually saw him play before in high school. He's from Tiffin, which is not too far from where I live.
Right.
And then he went to Michigan.
Hills, don't you?
He's from Fremont. I'm sorry, not Tiffin. He's from Fremont. Then he went to my favorite college team, Michigan, which was right up my alley. And then he went to my favorite NFL team. So, you know, I felt good about it.
Yeah, and to me, like he is one of the greatest corners to ever play the game, and he's also one of the greatest Raiders, just in the mentality of what he did. And I was very happy for him the way he went out, you know, at home. And he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, so in my opinion as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
and he finally got to pick off Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
He did it twice.
Yeah, he did it twice. That's right.
After not doing it for 18 years, he finally got him twice.
Yeah. And so, and then
that's why he's retiring. He finally got Manning.
That's true. Hey, look, but they both got one ring, and to me, you know, Charles, he had a sensational career, and I have to admit, his play never really drifted off either. which is amazing.
Absolutely.
For 19
So
years playing that long, it's
possible that all three of the players left from that draft class all retire the same year.
Let's see what's like Manning, Woodson, and who else?
Hasselbeck.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Hasselbeck came out that year?
Yeah, he's a 6th-round pick.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
There's the 3 players left from that draft.
Yeah. And Hasselbeck got 5 wins at age 40. I think that'd be good enough for me.
Yeah. Speaking of drafts, they were talking about the 2011 draft, I believe, where J.J. Watt came out.
Yes.
And was talking about that first round of that draft was phenomenal outside of Blaine Gabbert and Blaine Gabbert and what's the guy Tennessee drafted, the quarterback that came out of Washington?
Walker and Ponder. Ponder also came out of that class.
Did he? No, but he wasn't a first rounder.
Yes, he was.
Ponder was first rounder.
Yes, Ponder.
He must not have been that class then.
No, was that class.
Because that was the class. Cam Newton was number 1.
Yep.
And I forget who
right
else
now,
came after that.
Christian Ponder was number 12. He actually was the guy right after Watt.
I think Gabbert was 8th and Locker was 10th.
Locker was the other one, yeah.
Yeah. Locker was 8th and Gabbert was 10th, yep.
Yeah, they were saying how pretty much outside of those other quarterbacks, that was probably one of the best first-round drafts in a long time.
I enjoyed my first-round pick that year.
Von Miller?
Yeah, Von. Yeah. Definitely.
He'll be the highest paid player in the NFL next year, unfortunately.
Well, they're going to have to do that because if Houston got his deal, Von deserves his. And actually, yeah, if you look at the first top 7 picks, you got Cam Newton, Von Miller, Darius Green, Patrick Peterson, Julio, and Aldon Smith, 7 Pro Bowlers. And actually, 8 of the first 9 picks were Pro Bowlers.
There was a stretch of time, though, Guru, when the guy drafted right after the Oakland Raider.
Oh, man, you ain't got to tell me about that.
Yeah, so you know all about that. About 7-8 years in a row.
Yeah,
these guys are Hall of Famers.
Calvin Johnson, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's crazy.
No, you're right about that. But but that draft, I think that 2011 class is kind of like the opposite of the 2013 class. If that makes sense. The 2013 draft class looks like one of the worst classes to come out, in my opinion.
Who was in that class?
Wow, you got Eric Fisher, Luke Jokel, Deion Jordan, Jonathan Cooper, DJ Fluker, DJ Hayden, Kenny Vaccaro, EJ Manuel, Justin Pugh, Werner from Indianapolis, Sylvester Williams.
He's still there, Warner. Wow, that is a bad class.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of like the opposite. Where the 2011 class looks really good, and the 2013 looks like one of the worst. And then also you said you were a Bucks fan as well. You also support your Bucks. Is it kind of an interesting point where the Bucks kind of had a great, it was a roller coaster where they kind of had a mini collapse there at the end? That was kind of frustrating to me.
It was a little bit young. Offensively, some of their biggest issues that I saw, their receivers would drop all kind of. Because I sat up and probably watched about 8 games of theirs this year. And when they played Dallas that week, what's his name, Mike Evans?
Yeah, Mike Evans, yeah.
There were several passes where he had the defender beat by a few yards. Ball hits him in the hand. Could have been touchdowns, and he drops. And he was doing that game after game after game this season. I can honestly say, had the receivers not dropped so many passes, they probably would have had 3 or 4 more victories this year. But on the flip side, their defense is soft as cotton.
Yeah, well, that's that Tampa 2 for you. It's not really the same anymore. But I thought it was interesting because right after you beat the crap out of Philly, and then you were going into Indy. I was like, this Bucks team has a chance to get on a roll. And then the thing that was really irritating to me was the 2 games when you played New Orleans and the Rams back to back because it was the exact opposite of what I expected.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, in the Saints game, okay, you're playing the worst defense in the league. You should put up a lot of points. You actually allowed the lowest amount of points that the Saints have given up all year. So I'm going, that's not good.
And actually, they gave up the most yards to the Saints for the season too.
Right. Yeah, so I'm going, and then the very 4 days later, you play one of the worst offenses in the league, in the Rams, who had going into that game had put up about 4 offensive touchdowns in their last five games, and they put up 31. And I'm going, that's really bad for them because that's just like the exact opposite of what should have happened or what kind of game it should have been. Didn't, and I was like, that looks bad for Lovey and that staff.
I don't think he'll get fired this year, but if you don't see much improvement next year, I think he'll be gone.
Yeah, I agree. I think Lovey. Well, again, I kind of like I said earlier with Gus, 3 consecutive losing seasons. You don't deserve to keep your job. I don't care what resume you have.
And depend on the situation. I mean, because like as bad as my Oakland Raiders were, if you had 3 losing seasons, hell, I can understand because they had for a good while they had no talent on the roster.
The Raiders are the exception.
What's that?
The Raiders are the exception to that rule.
Well, but see, here's the thing, though. I think Guru could appreciate this.
Oh, no. The Broncos fired their coach, and they went 12-4 3 straight years. So.
Right. Fair enough. But I think my thing is that the one guy that I think Raider fans are really upset about, because even though Jack Del Rio's done a decent job this year, right? The one guy I think Raider fans have been most upset about for the last few years is Hugh Jackson. Because I thought Hugh Jackson got a raw deal when he got fired in Oakland.
We were 6-0 in the division that year, and he gets fired.
I was pissed that Tom Cable got fired when he went 8-8. But that was toward the tail end of Al Davis's sane years, where I seriously think he had a mental condition his last 12 years that he lived.
But also,
I don't think any coach stayed for 2 years under him.
Right. But also, my thing was, didn't he have a domestic incident with his wife that came up? I thought he had a domestic incident that year that kind of like.
That's right. Cable did. He punched his wife or something, right?
Yeah. I think, and I thought maybe that was more of a factor. That again, that's not on the results. I just thought of that.
When you look at it, the last 15 since they've been to the Super Bowl, you've only had 2 coaches with, if you want to call them winning seasons, but they both finished 8-8. It was Cable and Jackson.
Right.
And he cans both of them.
And look at Cable. He's done a great job in Seattle for all these years.
Right.
And you look at Hugh Jackson. He looks like he should get another opportunity with somebody this year. I believe so.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So, and then so to me, I guess with Lovey, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm trying to think here. What do you? Well, okay. So what do you think about the whole Broncos situation with the quarterback? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm of the mindset that you don't lose your position because of an injury.
Okay.
I'm of that mindset. But if you get injured and then your replacement is playing lights out, I wouldn't make a change.
That's what Tom Brady did.
If he starts,
remember that?
Yeah, that's what Brady did. Yeah.
You're pulling the Wally Pip Don Mikowski argument, right?
Huh?
You're pulling the Wally Pip Don Mikowski argument, right? Like where the one guy just goes down and the other guy comes in and he just plays better. You got a point, right?
Yeah, I mean, if he comes in and he plays great and the team chemistry is good, then I believe in not making that change. But if they play okay, then when my starter is ready again, I'm putting my starter back in.
So do you believe that they should go with Peyton next weekend in the divisional round?
If he's healthy, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I just believe overall, one, Peyton is a better quarterback, and two, he gives them a better chance of winning over Brock.
I agree.
You know, absolutely.
I mean, Brock didn't play lights out. I mean, he did a good job. I can't complain. You know, but you know.
I think once the other teams got tape on him,
Yeah.
they were able to stop him.
He doesn't have enough experience to be able to adjust to other teams' adjust.
And you know what's funny? You know what team that you can thank for that? You can thank Guru's team for that offensive shutout performance.
In the second half, yes.
In the second half, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I loved every minute of it.
Yeah. No, because that was that game that Khalil Mack, who's a stud, by the way. The Texans are kicking themselves for not taking him over Clowney.
Well, I mean, I could have got a sack against who was playing right tackle for the Broncos.
Fair enough.
In all seriousness, he's freaking terrible. All the Broncos fans said they would rather have a parking cone there than him.
Wow. Ow! Ow! That hurts. Ow! Wow. Man, that's a.
Yeah, he was bad.
Yeah.
Khalil came out of a small school, right? He came out of Buffalo.
Yeah,
Buffalo. Yeah.
That was the big knock on him, and Clowney was the consensus first overall. I think while he was still in his junior year.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing is that I think when I look at Khalil Mack, he's outperformed Clowney by a mile. Or even
No comparison. That's a shame. You know, Houston's defense should really be scarier than they are. You imagine Clowney being effective, and if they still had Mario Williams on that team,
right? And they have J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt's still doing everything basically by himself.
With J.J., yeah.
Which but that's what I'm saying. That Khalil Mack is special.
Cushing is still a good linebacker on that team.
Right, he is.
Yeah.
But when I look at Mack, my big thing though, that game was really impressive because I think, and you could help. He tied Howie Long's single game record for sacks in that game. I think he got Osweiler 5 times, right?
Yep, 5.
5, yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was really impressive. Whenever you can put yourself in the same name as Howie Long, that's good.
The whole team got 5 sacks. He got them all, right?
No, I think they got like 7 or 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they had 7 for the game.
Yeah, but still, so.
All his sacks came in the second half, though. He did it in one half.
He did it in one half. If he played like the first half, he could have broke Derek Thomas's record if he wanted to.
Yeah.
So I was asking everybody this interesting question about in the 6 seeds, who's the more scarier 6 seed in your opinion, Seattle or Pittsburgh?
Wow.
It has to be Pittsburgh because Minnesota will be eliminating Seattle.
Hey, Gio.
Yeah.
Is marijuana legal in Canada?
It is in Gio's house.
That looks like a big marijuana plant behind you, Guru. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I would have to say those teams are equally scary, but because really when I look at both divisions, conferences, really I only see really one other team in both of those 6 seeds win, really.
Arizona and Denver, I guess.
Yep, that's really the only teams I really because I don't see Carolina. Carolina might win their first playoff game. I really don't see it. I think they'll lose.
If you don't mind me asking, because I guess Logan and Billy are kind of on your. What makes you? I guess besides the defense, what other things make you skeptical about the Panthers?
The thing that really gets me going into the playoff is, like I said, the defense and then some of their inconsistent play on offense. Typically going into the playoffs, if you go back and you check teams who went to the Super Bowl and teams who won the Super Bowl, they began to improve the last few games of the season and going into the playoffs.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a good point because it's a momentum.
Carolina has done the opposite. They still won, but as the later games went, other than the Tampa Bay game, they looked less and less impressive.
No, that's true. When they lost to Atlanta,
So it was like going to the playoffs. That's not a good thing.
Right. Even though I guess you could argue at the same time. Remember, Pittsburgh lost to my squad with Ryan Mallett. So
yeah,
that didn't look that good either. And I guess to me, I just look at Seattle, and I'm always in one of those perspectives of I think Seattle they're going to getting Marshawn Lynch back is huge because
here's what will be interesting to me about that.
Okay, go ahead.
We had seen how they have been playing without him. Will they now sort of get away from that and try to get back to strictly running Marshawn Lynch?
I think that they should try to, as best they can, have a combination because I think that if you can get a good play action game going and the other way, like that's the thing. If you got like more people backing off because of Wilson, that's more intimidating to me to have Marshawn Lynch running downhill than Wilson throwing the ball. If that makes sense.
So right now, I wouldn't fear Marshawn Lynch right now.
Well, yeah, I think
he played what, 2 games this season?
I think he played about 7.
Huh?
I think it'll be like 7. I think he's missed like 7.
Am I allowed to join?
What's up, Gavin?
We're wrapping up, Gavin.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up here in a second. Yeah. So, but to me though, like I look at it and say, when you got about, I think he's missed about 4 or 5 games, and he didn't really look that impressive anyway going in the beginning. But I think that's also their offensive line as well, because Russell Wilson was getting sacked and a tremendous amount in the beginning of the year.
Here's a stat for you guys. Off the top of my head, I can only think of 2 teams that have won the Super Bowl and then 2 years later won it. Once was New England, and I think Dallas did it back in the late 90s or something like that. 90? So Seattle is the team that won it 2 years ago. I'm just saying, a mathematician would tell you that they have a very small chance of winning the Super Bowl this year.
Can I say something?
What's up, Gavin?
Here's one
there's no more college team that's underrated than Arizona State. I know that we sucked this year, but
hey, she's on.
No, I know that we sucked this year.
We promised Dante to come on. She was going to come on.
Yeah.
I know that. I just have one thing to say. There's no other college team more underrated than Arizona State. We have Brock Osweiler and Jalen Strong. Brock Osweiler comes in, plays for Peyton Manning, and leads them to the Super Bowl and a #1 seed. And then Jalen Strong comes in, and the first play catches that Hail Mary pass to end the second half, the first half.
Okay.
Here's an interesting tidbit about Seattle.
Sure.
When they lost those few games earlier in the season,
I probably watched about 8 games.
They were running the ball, playing typical Seattle football.
That week.
Since they've been on this run, they've been scoring 30-some points a game, and it's not been by just typically running the ball. They've been airing it out a good bit because defense really hasn't been able to stop too many people. They were losing earlier in the season because they were giving up 20-something back.
If he was doing that
I think it'll be kind of interesting to see how they approach this playoff game.
Okay, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. Absolutely, I agree.
All right, so Guru, you want to plug your new channel?
Yeah, you want to plug? Yeah.
It's not dropped so many times.
It's the Football Guru 2.
Beautiful.
Twice as good as the last one.
Yeah.
Okay, Guru, thanks a lot, buddy.
Thanks, man.
All right, Guru, good talking.
Enjoy the game, man. All right, good hearing from you.
Take it easy.
See ya. All right, Dante,
But on the
can you
flip
hear us?
Your defense is soft as cotton.
Yeah, well, that's that Tampa 2 for you. Are you actually watching
Not really the same.
Hi, Dante. We finally got you on.
Dante, hello.
I had to switch. Can you hear me?
In the Indian,
Yes,
no,
we
we
can.
was like this Bucks team.
We can now.
Turn off the
Turn off the
live feed though.
Yeah, I did that in the beginning. Yeah, turn off.
The 2 games when you played New Orleans.
Yeah, just mute the stream. Yeah, hearing my voice once is good enough.
back to back.
Yeah.
Because it was the exact opposite of what I expected. Right. Yeah, I was like in the Saints game, okay, you're playing the worst defense in the league. You should put up a lot of
Dante,
points.
turn off the YouTube
Mute the stream. Mute the stream. Yeah. Turn down your volume on your computer to mute the stream.
Now say something. Go ahead, Jer.
Is that better?
Yeah, there we go.
Good.
Yeah.
My apologies for not letting you on. I pressed a button that wouldn't let you on, and I tried everything to get you back. But thank you for working around that. We appreciate you joining us.
They gave up the most yards.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Yeah.
Hey, Dante,
Okay, sorry.
just exit out of the
Hi.
YouTube.
Exit out of the YouTube? Oh, I got it.
Don't watch
Sorry.
the live feed while you're doing this.
Oh, okay, that's what's happening. Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
No, that's what happened in the beginning. That's what happened in the beginning with me. I was playing it, and I heard my own self, and trust me, that's something that I only have to hear once to be comfortable with. Not 2 times.
Oh, that's well. Okay, I know I had it up on another browser, so this is my first time. So I'm very green. So just learning this.
No, we can hear you. We can see
All I
you.
have to say is this: United in Orange.
Beautiful.
Yeah. How sweet. But yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a big moment. I guess congrats on the Broncos getting #1 seed. I guess you were ecstatic. I guess when you saw the Patriots lose to Miami, getting an opportunity.
Well, I was ecstatic, but you have to, if my show's new on YouTube, but since the beginning of the season, I've been saying all year, all I want is for the Broncos to beat the Patriots back in November. That's all I cared about. I wanted Brady to get picked off. So when we beat the Patriots, that was like the biggest deal to me. Because I don't like the Patriots.
No, they've always been a pain to most of the NFL side. And to me, I also think it was just they were undefeated too. They were undefeated. You got to beat the undefeated Patriots. Everybody thought we're gonna go undefeated on a 16-0 type run. Yeah.
I was so happy because also I just have a thing with Tom Brady, and on my show I call him wilted lettuce. Because in a press conference, he said that he was fresh as lettuce. He goes, no, I'm fresh as lettuce. And then now I call him wilted lettuce. I'm like, no, you're wilted lettuce. And so it's funny because a lot of my Twitter followers call him wilted lettuce.
I'll have to find that. I'll have to find that presser because that just sounds too great. So one of the things that's interesting to me is, and I guess I wanted your thoughts because I've talked to Billy about this. What are your thoughts on Kubiak's bold decision to put Peyton Manning back in the game last?
I mean, to be honest with you guys, like for all season, because there was a lot of talk, with Coach Foxy. I like to call him Coach Foxy. The thing about Coach Fox is like he didn't get mad. He didn't make bold decisions. Like, just like grab the players. Sometimes you need some like screaming and like some guts or whatever, some balls to make like hard decisions. And I think when Kubiak has been coaching, he kind of seems like a softie too. So I've kind of been hard on him on my show, but when he made that decision and he made it quickly, I have an all new respect for Kubiak when he made that, because that took guts, you guys.
It did. It did. But also, I think it also just it heightened it because now he's going to have to answer more questions, in my opinion, about that because he did that. Is that fair?
Yeah, but you know what? I think either way, he's not going to win, and I think what he has said all along is that he's going to do what's best for the team. It's not what's best for Peyton's legacy. It's not what's best for John Elway's money and retaining Gronk. I really think it's what he's gonna do is really gonna be best for the team. And if Peyton feels healthy, and after that game, he's gonna reconvene. And I don't think Kubiak's gonna announce who the quarterback is because it's actually benefiting us if we don't announce who it is.
That's fair enough. So
honestly, guys, I think either quarterback can do it. I mean, really, I think we just need someone to manage the game and make smart decisions. And number one, do ball security. And I think if we do that, and we run our running game and our defense does what it's been doing, I think we can go all the way. But we can't turn the ball over.
No, that's fair. So, and then, do you guys have any things, or do you guys have any other thoughts, or
well, no, we can't turn the ball. That's what Peyton was doing at the beginning of the year, and even though he had missed 4 games, at one point he was still leading the league in interceptions, and then of course Brock started doing that too. But if Peyton can limit those, he's such a smart quarterback, and that defense is lights out. So I think Denver has got to be the pick to come out of the AFC.
Hey, did you guys see the Broncos game last Sunday? Did you guys watch it?
What, the game?
Did anyone watch the Broncos-Chargers game? Did anyone watch it?
Yeah, I watched it.
I did.
Okay, so do you guys remember when Peyton it was like I think it was in the 4th quarter, and he was going through his progressions, and he didn't see anyone, and he stepped up in the pocket, and he allowed himself to get sacked? That actually was the old Peyton. That's a good Peyton move, because when you don't see anyone, it's better to take the sack than throw it, and that's what he was doing. He wasn't being his when he did all those interceptions. He was thinking that he had to make a play, and he would just be forced in his mind to throw it, and that's where he got all those interceptions. He was trying to be everything, and now I think this break is good for him because I think he kind of got his mind back. And it's good. It's sometimes, as you guys know, it's good to take a sack. And that play, for instance, was a good move on his part. Our defense is good. It'll get the ball back to us. Hunt it.
Absolutely.
I saw Teddy Bridgewater do that.
He
threw the ball with his left hand and was an intercepted. He should have just taken the sack. And that's what Peyton did. And there's a experienced veteran versus a pretty inexperienced new guy, and that makes all the difference in the world.
Yep. So now that you're on, you want to make your wild card pick. So what do you got?
What do you got?
My wild card picks. So this weekend I have. Oh, let me get on my phone because I said it on my show. By the way, you guys, you'll be so proud of a girl because I am a girl. My picks this season, I mean, I was in like the high 80 percentile, 90 percentiles all year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wish we were, but
most of the time I got 11 right, like almost all the time. And one weekend I only got 2 wrong.
Wow, that's a good average. And
yeah, but I didn't keep track of it. But next year I will. Okay, so you guys, I have the wild card weekend at Kansas City at Houston. Okay, I'm going out on a limb. I know Chiefs are playing lights out.
Oh.
But I still think they have to. Someone's going to close them down. I think because one, they're playing in Houston. They're playing at Texans. I think that's an advantage for the Texans. And number 2, J.J. Watt is like a monster. I've watched this guy. He can take on the whole game. He can create turnovers. I think he's going to screw with Alex Smith, and it's going to get off on him. And you know what? Phil Simms on Inside the NFL, which is my favorite show, he went with the Texans. So you know what, you guys? I'm going on a limb. I'm going with the Texans for that game. Pittsburgh
fans stick together.
Yeah. You guys, I know a lot of people think the Steelers, but I'm going with the Bengals. The reason I'm going with the Bengals is because I watched that game with the Broncos like 5 times. I know I get obsessed. I'm really obsessed with the Broncos. And I watched those the Bengals are good on defense, offense, and special teams. And I think AJ can do it, and I think they're just a really, really solid all-around good team, and they scare me. So I'm picking the Bengals. Minnesota and Green Bay. Well, if last week, if you would have asked me, I would have said the Packers. But after watching the Packers last Sunday, I'm going with the Redskins. Aaron Rodgers is not himself. He has thrown so many picks. He's throwing interceptions in the red zone, which he never does. And he never has thrown an interception at Lambeau in like I don't know how many years it was. And then this year he's done it a lot. Something's off with him. My guess is that there's a divide in the locker room. There's I always think when the team starts to break apart, it's not good. It goes onto the field. So I think the players are just not a brotherhood and team, and I think the team's falling apart. So they need to rework that. I think I do, because Aaron Rodgers has said a lot of stuff about his offense, and they're just not a group. They're not like a brotherhood like the Seahawks or Broncos and stuff. So I'm going with the Redskins. And then who else? Is that all? That's all.
Minnesota and the Seahawks.
Seattle and Minnesota. Who do you have?
Minnesota. Oh, well, on my show I picked the Seahawks because, one, they know what the playoff atmosphere is like. Two, they are the secondary, all their miscues earlier in the season, they've gotten that all down pat, and the Legion of Boom is back, and Russell Wilson is playing like crazy balls good. So I'm going with the Seahawks. I really want the Vikings to win, though, because I love the Vikings. I really would root for the Vikings. I don't know. The cold they said it's going to be -8 degrees. That could affect the game, but I think the Seahawks are going to pull it off. And then going forward, I think it's going to be the Bengals against England and the Seahawks against Arizona and I hope it's the Texans against the
Broncos.
The Broncos. And then I think what's going to happen, I hope what's going to happen, of course I'm going to say, I think that it's going to be Patriots and Broncos, and then Broncos and the Panthers. And the Broncos are going to win the Super Bowl.
Okay, so
I like it.
Yeah, so of course you like that, or in the words of Kirk Cousins, you do like that. You like that, right?
I like that.
Right. But, okay, so here's an interesting question, though, and I'll ask both of you, Billy and Luis, because I've always had this thought. If Peyton Manning decides to leave this year, or do you expect him back next year, Peyton Manning? No. Okay. So if he goes one and done again, which is possible, it could be because of his history, would you consider that contract that John Elway gave Peyton a bust of a signing?
Because he's owed $19 million next year?
No. I'm saying because of all the stuff that Peyton was supposed to bring to this franchise.
Oh, no. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I've been to the game. I mean, people love Peyton Manning. I mean, no, it's reinvigorated the Broncos country. I mean, Peyton brings back all this stuff. They've won all these games. It's exciting. They're like, do you guys know that the Broncos game was #1 game on Monday Night Football through the whole season on ESPN? And Sunday Night Football, all the statistics, the analytics came out, and it was the #1 game. Broncos was the #1 game on both Monday Night Football of the season and Sunday Night Football. So I think they got their.
I attribute the Sunday one to a bit of Brady Manning. I think the Patriots also played a factor in that as well. Okay, I'll give you.
Manning didn't play.
What?
Manning didn't play that game.
Oh, well, okay. Well, maybe it was Patriots, Broncos. Brady, and that. That's a bit of a factor too. But that's a good point.
We're going to tune into that because, and also, Broncos was voted America's team.
Which is that's. I forgot about that's right. There was some point I saw that.
I think John Elway did get his money's worth, and I just hope you can. Maybe there's Peyton haters out there. I don't know, but the guy's a really good guy off the field, and you guys look how humiliating that was that he got benched by Brock, and he was a backup, and he never complained. He suited up. He really showed great examples to other young players in the league because he's Peyton Manning, and he's not being a brat like Brett Favre, the total brat egomaniac. That takes a lot of that's a lot of great character on Peyton's part.
Okay.
He just, so
All right.
I just hope for him that he goes out on top.
Right. No, because again, and that's how John Elway went out. That's how he went out on top with 2 rings himself in back-to-back years. And I totally agree with you about your point about definitely the he's reinvigorated that team. He's reinvigorated that city, and that team's had a lot more consistent success than it's had in a very long time. I guess my thing is just I look at it and say that the fact that, and I know that because I've been a big Tim Tebow supporter, okay, and for me, I'm not saying that Peyton not getting him was the right move, but I always thought that Tim should have stayed as the backup. That was always my thought. So with Peyton, if he does that, okay, having 3 one-and-dones in 4 years, to me that's a really big sign of, I'm not saying that Tim, he probably wouldn't have won 12 games a year. I'll admit that, but knowing that Tim in 2011 ended up 3 times, or Peyton ended up 3 times, ended up in the same exact spot that Tim put him in, is a huge thing of, that's a positive for me for why did you get rid of Tim, if that makes sense. You see what I'm saying? Is that because, and I understand the defense was bad. And look,
some of those things, if I remember the Ravens game, it was like by 1 point and the kicker missed it or something. It has nothing to do with Peyton. He just has. And by the way, you guys, there is something called the football gods, which happen to love the Patriots. But sometimes things just kind of go in your favor. Like you said, the football gods.
No, that's a good point. I just hope you understand my point, or just my perspective.
Well, no, I mean I actually met Tim Tebow. He goes to the city church. I met him. I went up to him, and he wasn't really that nice. I have to admit.
Okay. All right.
I went up to him. Like he goes to the city church where I go to, and I'm like, hi, I have a shot. I'm like, I hope you do well with the Eagles. And he's like, he was just kind of fake. I was like, ugh.
All right, hey, we're gonna wrap it up here. All right, we're kind of running out of time here. So, hey, thanks for coming on and for finally being able to do it. Come on, I guess sorry for all the issues.
Since you're new to the page and all, why don't you
plug your
channel so people can see you?
Yeah, plug your channel. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, my YouTube channel is First Down with Dante, and you guys put yours. I'll follow all of you, and I'm on Twitter is First Down Dante.
Okay, hey, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Dante, for doing that for us.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sorry for all the hassle.
Thanks for Billy for including me. It's probably nice to get a girl, huh?
It is. These guys have to be patient for 3 hours.
You guys see this one? Bye.
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 Bye. All right, end it live.
All right.
Oh.
Just hit the red. There we go. Did you go?
Okay, guys. So that was a pretty good show. We had like to thank Dante, Guru. Gavin came in. Logan came in. We couldn't get TJ. Thanks, TJ. I know you tried to get in. We'll do it again. Poet started us off, and Michael Stroop joined us. Who else? Did I miss somebody? I think I missed somebody.
Keith Bailey. Keith came in.
Keith Bailey. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Keith, for doing this, and thanks to you guys, my co-hosts Matt and Billy B.
No problem.
Absolutely. Great.
Absolutely. This was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, maybe we'll do another one next week, and we'll get some more of the progs on.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, we can talk about the divisional round. Absolutely.
Okay, guys. Well, thanks a lot for this, and we'll see you on the Facebook page probably tomorrow. And good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
And go Vikings.
Go Broncos.
Good luck to everybody. All right.